You got a lot to fit the lion in the middle of it.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Blessed be Yahweh our King, who has allowed us to return once again. Hoping and praying those that haven't arrived at the Most High will cause to get here safely. Those that can't make it out today, that the Most High be with them wherever they're at, observing this day. This time I'll ask everyone to please open up the prayer books to page 1. The 92nd Psalm, a song for the Shabbat day. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. It is a good day to give thanks to Yahweh. Let us say praise unto thy name, O Most High. To show forth thy holy kindness in the morning, and thy faithfulness every night. And give us great tribute upon the soil, upon the mountains, for thou, Yahweh, is heaven and glad in thy work. I have found the Lord in thy hands. O Yahweh, I pray thy work, thy work, thy work. O who made in the days thy kingdom to be in the city. We have been looking up to the next world, which is in the kingdom of God. I pray that they can be destroyed, brother. And how you will pray, brother. Lord, I ask you to remove the damage to my brother. All the work of the people stop to that. All our homes, you gotta feel like the Lord, oh Father. I ask you to get to a place where I'm a church, I'm teaching my desire in my journey. If my head is my niggas, and God will make their lives to it. Lord, I get some food, I just want you. You say, oh, I can see you. Those that be fighting in the house of the Lord, my Lord, you walk my God. They should say, all the days, they will be back to God. You say that the whole God right. You got right, there is no right with this. Hallelujah. 124. Hallelujah. They that trust in your whole shall be as my hand. We sing out people with my blood. Like stars of men. Children who run my life. My men will be forever. When you rock the room, I'm not going to right. Let's fight the war. Stupid on your heart, you know that we did. You know that I'm on your mind. As the church comes down to the cold waves, the world shall be before the world for people. But these have your heart. Hallelujah. The Lord is patient. Pray good. Look to the mind you got to say that's Lord. Somebody try your whole life to your holy mind. And all your trial, your whole God, your whole joy. You got to come to all my God. All my heart. With all my soul. With all my heart. And that's why you got to ask you to pray. In your heart. And that's what you got to do. I do. And that's what you got to do. So long. When I walk in my way. When I lie down. When I lie down. When I get out of the time of all my head. You raise my little woman. You got out. You got to let me go. Go to the house. And it's all I do. And it's got me there. I'm there. I'm there. Let the Lord be our boss. God, I'm on this time. I can't even get a skin. I can't even get a skin. I'm wrong with it. I'm good at that. Well, I can get that shit now. It's all done. It's all praise. And your whole smoke, say, reach the whole thoughts to the children, reach the whole state. Where the leaves are, keep my shot close. But it's the time to keep getting you on the generation. That you get over on your home, say the light. Each time you try my info, when it's all in you. Everyone that will bring you this, I try to put you there. Always know when you take what you want. That's all the time, put on one more look at it. Big place, I want you now. I want to tell you this, time to sign the record. Hold up to your home. So I'm going to go to the shot out here. Bitch, I told you. creator of heaven and earth. For this day our lives and the lives of our loved ones. Everything you say, for your goodness, your mercy, and your love. Yet in this year, there's no conflict. And there's no victory, but the soul victory. Now God alone. Blessed be your witness. Yes, I do. In this time of trouble, in this time of hardship, oh, great King, remember those that strive to do that which is right before you. And to perfect, lay on those that are unequal, those that are God, tonight is a struggle over the God. For we are surrounded by all kind of temptation and things that are natural, right? God, we got just so much age of dimension, cycles of life, that we united in the Lord, and all that, and all the plans that need to be. Teach us how to do so. Teach us more. Unity. One another. Lord thy God, thank you for this place. My Father, please continue to preach your word. It is now up to our thoughts concerning the destination of the nation. Now we can prepare God, you be with Chief Michael. Bless you. Bless his heart and his mind. Give him peace. Give thanks to Yah Most High for his goodness, his mercy, and his love. Captain Malachi won't be here today, so we'll keep the bigger ones upstairs with us. We're thanking God for his goodness, his mercy, and his love. We're going to sing Baruch Hashem. You know, the only offering that we can give to God in this day and time is praise. Praise. Let your voices be heard. You know, you're not singing to me. You're not singing to anyone in here.
That's right. Make that clear. Make that clear.
We're singing to the mighty God, and he sees your thoughts.
That's right.
He sees that sometimes our lips be singing, but our mind be somewhere else. So is that praise? I talk from experience. Yeah, I talk from experience. Let us sing Baruch Hashem. You ready? Okay, keep focused. Baruch Hashem, Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Blessed be the name of Yehovah our King. May be seated. We thank the Most High for this day, the Holy Shabbat day. We ask and pray that the Most High God continue to bless us, even in these the lands of our captivities. We thank Yehovah for all things and everything. We thank Him for food, clothing, and shelter. The fact that we're alive. The fact that we call upon His high holy name. Moses, sit right in the front seat. We ask Yehovah to continue to be with us and bless us. And we thank Him for being the King of the universe, Yehovah Sabaoth. And unto Him we give all glory. Amen. And unto Him we give all praises. We almost say hallelujah. Hallelujah. This is the day that Yehovah has made, and we should be glad and rejoice therein. We should rejoice in this day. We should be happy that this day came forth. This is a day of rest, designated by the Most High for mankind, so that we can rest from all the things that we do, throughout all the secular things that we do throughout the week. We thank Yehovah for being the King, the only God. There's only one God, and His name is what? There's only one God, and His name is what? There's only one God, and His name is what? So we thank this great King. That's right, righteous judge. That's right, my brother. We thank the Most High King. Second of all, giving due respect to the leader, the teacher, and the founder of Shema Yisrael, even Prince Paul Ben Zavulim. Amen. That the Most High God be with him, guide him and protect him, ease his mind from any troubles, and that the Most High God continue to bless him with health and wealth and all the things that are desirable in his mind and righteousness. The Most High God bless his family, and that the Most High God continue to give him the righteous spirit to lead God's people in the righteous man. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. The man who sits, even the man who sits across from him, who's not here at this time, my brother Prince Yadiel Ben Yisrael, that the Most High God be with him. Bless him wherever he might be at observing this day. That the Most High God be with his family, his household, bless him with health and wealth and all the things that are desirable in his mind and righteousness. And that the Most High God be with us, Red, even my sister Princess Shekinah. Continue to keep her healed, and that the Most High God continue to watch over her and protect her. And to the entire house of Yisrael, brothers and sisters, elders, to the entire house of Yisrael, I bid to y'all in the tongue of our ancient forefathers, Shabbat Shalom Aleichem. Shabbat Shalom. Brothers of the council, everyone. That the Most High God will bless us all and be with us all, even our people online. That the Most High God be with you also and guide you and protect you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We thank you all for this day. We thank you all for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and all the things that He gives us. And these, the lands of our captivities, amen, we can't take it for granted. No. Because we get to enjoy all the goodness of life, or the things that bring us delight in our lives. We got TVs in each room. We got cable. We got cars. In captivity. Yeah. We got all of that. So we thank the Most High God for even being in captivity. He eases our minds from the things that will bring us down. You know, and like I always say, whatever problems you have, leave them outside the door, because this is the Shabbat day that the Most High has made. So leave them outside the door. Come in here and be ready to praise this great King. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I also thank the Most High God for the time that He gave our brother Chief Zadik on this earth. Those of y'all that might have not known, Chief Zadik passed away this past week, and he was put away on Thursday. And that the Most High God bless the memory of Chief Zadik. That the Most High God be with his family, amen, with his household on their time of mourning, and that the Most High God continue to be with us all, even in this time of loss, and even with the leader of Shema Israel, who Chief Zadik was, close friends. They came up in this way of life. So it's not easy seeing a friend go, but we know it's the way that it's the path that we all must take. So we thank the Most High God for the time He gave Chief Zadik, that He gave him here with us. As you knew him, he was a spirited brother, and even in his sickness, he didn't let anything hold him down. He always was spirited, you know, and always with the spirit of praising the Most High. So we thank the Most High God for his life, that the Most High God be with his children, be with his brothers and sisters, and be with his Ema still alive, right? Be with his mother. Because no mother, no matter what age that child is, wants to put away a child. So we thank the Most High God for the life of Chief Zadik, and that the Most High God bless his memory. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. With that, we're going to move straight ahead, and I'm going to call on my brother Chief Benjamin to proceed with the Torah service for this morning. Seated. Give praise and honor to Jehovah, our God, the King of the universe, on this holy day, and thanking Him for allowing us to arrive here safely. And asking that His presence would be with us this day, and with the entire nation of Israel, all throughout the earth, as we gather together to call upon His name, to worship before Him and acknowledge that He alone is the God of the universe.
Amen.
That He alone is the Creator. That He created everything in 6 days, and then on the 7th day, He ceased from all work, and He blessed the 7th day. So this day is the day to commemorate creation. This is the day. This is a celebration of creation on this day, to acknowledge that Jehovah is God and that beside Him there is no other, and that it was His word that brought everything into existence. So we thank Him once again for allowing us to gather here this day at Shema Yisrael, and asking once again that His presence would be with us here this day as we call upon His name. We thank the Most High God for the spiritual leader of Shema Yisrael, the chief prince, Prince Support Ben-Zevulun.
Amen.
And we do ask that the Most High God would be with him and continue to strengthen him, continue to guide him and allow him to live in a righteous path, speaking the word of the Most High God to God's people. We also thank the Most High God for Prince Yeriah Baby Saska, the co-founder of Shema Yisrael, asking that the Most High God would be with him, continue to strengthen him, and continue to guide him, and allow him to live in a righteous path in the sight of the Most High God as well. And to everyone that say Shabbat Shalom to Kim.
Shabbat Shalom Makam.
At this time, we're going to go into our Torah service. This week's portion is called Kukwat, which is found in the book of Numbers, chapter 19, verse 1, concluded with chapter 22, verse 1. That's Bamidbar Yotate, Aleph, Ad, Kaf, Beit, Aleph. And we'll call up 8 readers to read portion of this week's reading in Hebrew. And first question of the day, what is today's date on the Hebrew calendar? Get the 30th day. So that means that we have no 31 days in any Hebrew month. So new moon is tonight, in case you didn't know. So I'll call up the first reader, who will read Numbers chapter 19, verses 1 through 3. Bemidbar Yotate Aleph Ad Gimel. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
We get a Zoe again with your shield, the Kola Chosim Bo with no more Amen.
Amen.
Hakola Vugadelo Lahinu. Utnu Kavod La Torah. Yamo Nasi Rosh, Nasi Support, Ben-Zevulun.
Alipo Baruch Yehovah.
But ye that did cleave unto Jehovah your God, Allah, every one of you this day. Amen.
Amen. Baruch Yehovah Hamarak.
Baruch Yehovah Leolam Wa'ed.
Baruch Yehovah Hamarak. Leolam Wa'ed. Baruch Atah Yehovah. Eloheinu Melech HaOlam. Asher Bakar Banu Mikal HaAmin. Ve'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Yehovah Notain HaTorah.
Amen.
You may be seated. Once again, he will read Numbers chapter 19, verses 1 through 3. The Midbar Yote, Aleph Ad Gimel.
Daber Yehovah El Moshe El Aharon Lemor. Zot Kukwat Torah Asher Siwa Yehovah Lemor. Daber El Bnei Yisrael We Yikku Eleka Farah Duma Temima Asher Ain Ba Moon Asher Lo Allah Aleha O Aleha O Tatain Ota El El Azar. HaKohen we ho si ota el mikuts lama kanei lama kanei we shakat ota Lefana, Slika.
Numbers chapter 19, verses 1 through 3.
And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe and unto Aharon, saying, This is the statute of the Lord which Yahweh hath commanded, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring thee a red heifer, faultless, wherein is no blemish, and upon which never came yoke. He shall give her unto Eleazar the priest, and she shall be brought forth without the king, and she shall be slain before his face. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, rekai olam, nata betukenu, Baruch atah Yehovah noten haTorah.
Amen. Shani, the second reader, will read Numbers chapter 19, verses 18 through 20. The midbar yote akav. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Will you azor your game with your shit that call a hosting board with no more amen?
Amen.
I call a fuga del on the hinu. Unu kavora Torah. Yamon kosh uzi abendam.
Ani po Baruch Hashem shel Yehovah.
Ruchla tan Torah Magisra Bitu Shato.
For ye that day cleave unto Yahweh your God, Allah upon you this day.
One time every prima Yehoda Hekem, Kam Kukem Hayom.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Baruch et Yehovah Hamborak.
Baruch Yahweh Hamborak Leolam Ha'ed.
Baruch Yehovah Hamborak leolam wa'ed. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech ha'olam. Asher bakar banu mikah ha'amin. Wenatan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Yehovah noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Once again, he will read Numbers chapter 19, verses 18 through 20. The midbar yote akav.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Walakwak azov wetaval bamayim. Ish tahor wehiza al ha'ohel we'al kal akelim we'al hanfashot asher hayu sham we'al anogea ba'asem o bekala o ba'me o ba'kwavel Wehiza atahor al atame. Bayom hashlishi. Hubayom hashbi'i. Wehit o. Bayom hashbi'i. Wekibes. Begadayo. Werakats. Bamayim. Wetahel. Ba'arev, we ish asher, yit ma, we lo, yit kata, we nik reta, anefesh, hahiu, mitok, aquahal ki eight, mikdash, Yahweh, me, nida, lo zorak, alayo, tame, hu.
Amen.
Amen.
Numbers chapter 19, verses 18 through 20.
And a clean person shall take hyssop, and dip it in the water, and sprinkle it upon the tent, and upon all the vessels, and upon the persons that were there, and upon him that touched the bone, or the slain, or the dead, or the grave. And the clean person shall sprinkle upon the unclean on the third day, and on the seventh day. And on the seventh day he shall purify him, and he shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and shall be clean that evening. But the man that shall be unclean, and shall not purify himself, that soul shall be cut off from the midst of the assembly, because he hath defiled the sanctuary of Jehovah. The water of sprinkling have not been dashed against him. He is unclean. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'kayei olam nata betokenu, Baruch atah Yehovah noten haTorah.
Amen.
Shalisha, the third reader, will read Numbers chapter 20, verses 7 through 9. The Midbar Kaf, Zion Adate, Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Azuria Gil Yoshila Kola Hosin Bo and Noma Amen.
Amen.
Akola Buka Dela Lahinu, Uluka Vola Torah, Yamon Boshnap Tari Benda.
Ani Paul, Baruch Hashem Shal Yehovah.
Ruchlatan Torah Make Israel Big to Shato.
Believe that they cleave unto Jehovah your God, our lives and money you this day.
Whatever you create your whole Hakem, Kaim Kukem Hayon.
Amen.
Baruch Yehovah Hamrat.
Baruch Yehovah Leolam Waed.
Baruch Yehovah Hamrat Leolam Waed. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher b'kavanu mikah ha'amin. V'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Yehovah noten haTorah.
Amen.
Once again, he will read Numbers chapter 20, verses 7 through 9. The Midbar Kaf, Zion Adate.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
V'adaber Yehovah el Moshe lemor. What et ha mate. We hachel et ha-eda ata we ahron akika we hivaltem el ha-sela we enehem le-enehem we natan me-maiwa we Huzeta lahem mayim min hasela vehish kwita et haeda ve et ve'ira vayikwak Moshe et ha mate milfane melifne Yehovah ha'asher ziwahu.
Amen. Numbers chapter 20, verses 7 through 9.
And Yehovah spoke unto Moshe, saying, Take the rod and assemble the congregation, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes, that it give forth its water, and thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock, so thou shalt give the congregation and their cattle drink. And Moshe took the rod from before Yehovah, as he commanded him. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet. B'chayei olam nata b'tokenu. Baruch atah Yehovah noten haTorah.
Amen.
Ravi, the fourth reader, will read Numbers chapter 20, verses 14 through 16. The Midbar Kaf, Yodalet Ate Zion, Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
V'yat Azoria Gil Yoshila Kola Hosin Bo and Noma Amen.
Amen.
Akola Buka Dela Lahinu, Uluka Vola Torah, Yamon Semen Raphael Benihuna. Ruchlatan Torah Make Israel Big to Shato.
Believe that they cleave unto Jehovah your God, our lives every one of you this day.
Whatever you create your whole Hakem, Kaim Kukem Hayon.
Amen.
Baruch Yehovah Hamrat.
Baruch Yehovah Hamrat Leolam Waed.
Baruch Yehovah Hamrat leolam waed. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bakar banu mikol ha'amin. V'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Yehovah noten haTorah.
Amen.
Once again, he will read Numbers chapter 20, verses 14 through 16. The Midbar Kaf, Yodalet Ate Zion.
Vayishlach Moshe Malaki. Mikwadesh el melech Edom. V'komar akika Yisrael. Atar yadata ekan hat la'a asher me sa'atnu. Vayirdu avotenu bi Mitzrayma. Why Nishev be Mitzrayim Yamin Rabim. Why Yareu Lanu Mitzrayim Vela Avotenu. Why Nitzak El Yehovah. Why Yishma Kolenu. Why Yishlak Malak. Why Yotzienu Mi Mitzrayim Vehine Anaknu ve Kwadesh ir Kwesei Gevu Leka.
Amen. Numbers chapter 20, verses 14 through 16.
And Moshe sent messages from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Thus saith thy brother Israel, Thou knowest all the travail that hath befallen us. How our fathers went down into Egypt, and we dwelt in Egypt a long time. And the Egyptians dealt ill with us and our fathers. And we cried unto Yehovah, he heard our voice and sent an angel, and brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, We are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of thy border. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emek v'kayei olam, natan b'tokenu. Baruch atah Yehovah noten Torah.
Amen.
Chamishi, the fifth reader, will read Numbers chapter 20, verses 22 through 24. The Midbar Kaf, Kaf Beit, and Kaf Dalet. Hallelujah.
Amen. Baruch Yehovah Barak Leolam Ha'ed.
Amen. Once again, he will read Numbers chapter 20, verses 22 through 24. The Midbar Kaf, Kaf Beit, and Kaf Dalet.
Wayisu Nikwadesh. Wayabohu b'nei Yisrael kol ha'eda hor hahar. Wayomeri Yehoah el Moshe ve'el Aharon b'hor hahar al gvul Eretz Edom lemon. Ye asay Aharon el Amai. Ki lo yabo el ha'aretz asher natati livnei Yisrael asher maritem et pi limei meriva.
Amen. Numbers chapter 20, verses 22 through 24.
And they journeyed from Kadesh, and the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, came unto Mount Hor. And Yehovah spoke unto Moshe and Aaron in Mount Hor, by the border of the land of Edom, saying, Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, but he shall not enter into the land which I have given unto the children of Israel, because you rebelled against my word at the waters of Meribah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Shishi, the sixth reader, will read Numbers chapter 21, verses 10 through 12. The Midbar Kaf Aleph, Yod Ad Yod Beit. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So you give your shit a kula hosin bo no ma amen.
Amen.
Akula fuga delo la hindu. Ulu kabola Torah. Yamoto body benda. Which that time to allow me to a big to shot.
For you that did cleave unto Yehovah your God are alive and one of you this day.
What to be quiet, you want to hit them. I book him. Ayo.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Baruch Yehovah Barak.
Baruch Yehovah Hamborak Leolam Ha'ed.
Baruch Yehovah Barak Leolam Ha'ed. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam, asher baka b'nu mekal ha'amin, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Yehovah noten Torah.
Amen.
Once again, he will read Numbers chapter 21, verses 10 through 12. The Midbar Kaf Aleph, Yod Ad Yod Beit.
Hallelujah. Vayis'ur b'nei Israel, vayakanu be'ovot. Vayis'ur be'me'ovot, vayakanu be'ir ha'abarim. V'midbar Esher al pnei Moab. Mimizrak Hashemesh. Misham Nasa'ur, Oyarkanur, Benakal, Zered.
Amen.
Amen.
Numbers chapter 21, verses 10 through 12.
And the children of Israel journeyed and pitched in Hobo. And they journeyed from Hobo and pitched at Iyeh Avarim, in the wilderness which is in front of Moab, toward the sun rising. From thence they journeyed and pitched to the valley of Zered. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'kayei olam nata b'tokenu. Baruch atah Yehovah noten Torah.
Amen.
Shabbat, the seventh reader, will read Numbers chapter 21, verses 21 through 23. The Midbar Kaf Aleph, and Kaf Gibel. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
We get a zor, you give your shit, a kola hosin bo no ma amen.
Amen.
A kola fuga delo la hindu. Unu kabola Torah. Yamori Yohana san bemenashe. Which not time to allow me to big to shot to.
For you that did cleave unto Yehovah your God are alive and one of you this day.
But Yehovah la hikem, kai kukem hayo.
Amen.
Hamra.
Baruch Yehovah Hamra Olam Ha'ed.
Baruch Yehovah Hamra Olam Ha'ed. Baruch Atah Yehovah Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bakar Banu Mikal Ha'amin Onatan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Yehovah Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Once again, he will read Numbers chapter 21, verses 21 through 23. The Midbar Kaf Aleph, Akaf Himel.
Yisla, Israel, Malachi, El, Sikon, Melech, Mori, Lemor, Avura, Aras, Barseka, Lo, Nite, Basade, Kimber, Lo, Nishten, Meir, the Air, Odere, Amole, Nile, I, Asher, Naavo, Bavuleka, Lo, Natan, Tikon, Et, Israel, Avo, Bigvulo, Aye, Eso, Sikon, Et, Kal, Amor, Oyese, Bikra, Israel, Amid, Bara, Yavo, Yasle, Yila, Kem, Israel.
Amen. Numbers chapter 21, verses 21 through 23.
And Israel sent messages unto Sihon, king of the Amorites, saying, Let me pass through thy land. We will not turn aside into field or into vineyard. We will not drink of the water of the wells. We will go by the king's highway, and until we have passed our border. And Sihon would not suffer Israel to pass through his border. But Sihon gathered all his people together and went out against Israel into the wilderness and came to Yahaz, and he fought against Israel. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Baruch Atah Yehovah Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Torah Emet V'Chayei Olam Natan B'Tachem. Baruch Atah Yehovah Noten HaTorah.
Amen. The final reader will read Numbers chapter 21, verse 34 to chapter 22, verse 1. The Midbar Kaf Aleph, Lamed Dalet, Al Kaf Beit Aleph. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
V'ya'azoy Yehiyom Yoshele Kol HaChosim Bo V'Nomo Amen.
Amen.
HaKol HaBuga Del Eloheinu, Udu Kavod HaTorah. Yamod More Yiftach Benda.
Ani Pope Baruch Hashem Sheyahovah.
Bruch Natan Torah Yisrael Bikdu Shato.
For ye that they cleave unto Yehovah your God, Allah, every one of you this day.
Watam Every Prima Yehola Ekam, Time Kukam Hayom.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Baruch Yehovah Hamra.
Baruch Yehovah Hamra Olam Ha'ed.
Baruch Yehovah Hamra Olam Ha'ed. Baruch Atah Yehovah Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bakar Banu Mikol Ha'amin V'Natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Yehovah Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Once again, he will read Numbers chapter 21, verse 34 to chapter 22, verse 1. The Midbar Kaf Aleph, Lamed Dalet, Al Kaf Beit Aleph.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Vayomer Yehovah El Moshe. Al tira oto. Ki b'yadka natati oto. Ve'et kol amo. Ve'et arzo. Ve'asita lo ka asher asita l'sihon. Melech ha'emori. Asher yoshev b'cheshbon. Vayaku oto. Ve'et benayu. Ve'et kol amo. Ad bilti hish'ir. Ad bilti hish'ir lo. Sari. Vayishu et arso. Vayis'u b'nei Yisrael. Vayachanu. Va'arbo Moab. Ve'eved Yarden Yerecho.
Amen. Numbers chapter 21, verse 34 to chapter 22, verse 1.
And Yehovah said unto Moshe, Fear him not, for I have delivered him into thy hand and all his people and his land. And thou shalt do to him as thou didst unto Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt at Heshbon. So they smote him and his sons and all his people, until there was none left him remaining, and they possessed his land. And the troops of Israel journeyed and pitched in the plains of Moab beyond the Jordan at Jericho. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Baruch Atah Yehovah Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'Chayei Olam Natan B'Tachem. Baruch Atah Yehovah Noten HaTorah.
Amen. That concludes the reading of the Torah for today. This week's Haftarah is found in the book of Judges, chapter 11, verse 1 to verse 33, which will be done later on this day by Aisha Moreh Yiftach. So at this time, we're going to read the prayer for everybody that came to read on this day, so they please stand. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Mishaberek Abutenu Abraham Yiskap Yaakov. Urek Et Nasi Rosh Nasi Support Ben Bunu.
Amen.
Where Rosh Uzia Ben Lewi.
Amen.
Where Rosh Naftali Ben Dan.
Amen.
Where Raphael Ben Yehuda.
Amen.
Where Samal Zakar Ben Dan.
Amen.
Where Obadiah Ben Dan.
Amen.
Where Yohanan Samba Ben Ashe.
Amen.
Where Mora Yiftach Ben Dan.
Amen.
But Inshallah Ligvora Makon, Ligvora Torah, Ligvora Shabbat. These cars they have produced Ruku. Yishma Hemi Yatsila Hemi Kal Sabra Supa. Umi Khan Nega Umakhala. Yishla Barako Hasaka Bekama Asaya Dehem. In Kal Yishola Fahim with no more. Amen.
Amen.
Everybody else may stand at this time. We conclude our Torah service with the reading of the Kasi Quadish. And also thanking our Torah bear for the day, Jamaica. Yikadawa Yikuda Shemeraba, but Alma Kibaki Ute, we am Ute. We ask my Pupole, we put it in Meshike. Yakaye Kulu Feme Kulu Pay Kabe Israel. But I got to wait my Puri with Ibu Hame.
Amen.
And he should never rock me along Lord Maya. You can rock me Shabbat. We put all we come out. We not say we put dog. We can live with an hour she made it whichever we cool. And he not me call me the tower she matter. Just because it didn't matter. I'll be right by Alma with Ibu Hame.
Amen.
Time to pull up Rosh Hashanah Ben Dan who leads us singing HaTorah.
Segor whereby shall we return unto thee, Lord? For thy word to be by thy Lord, by thy Lord, in our hearts oh, how can we draw closer to each other in the spirit of by thy Lord, by thy Lord, is the only way.
Being that a lot of people are visiting today from our congregation, the bigger kids can stay upstairs.
Have you used it?
You may be seated.
As always, giving honor and praise to Yehovah Sabaoth.
Amen.
Even the God of our forefathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Yitzchak, and the God of Israel.
Amen.
For by him we have nothing. And giving due respect to the chief prince, even of Shema Yisrael, Prince of Port Ben Zebulun, to Prince Yeriel Ben Yisaskar, to the elders, men, women, and children present, I bid you all in the tongue of my forefathers, Shabbat Shalom Lakem.
Shabbat Shalom Lakem.
How y'all feeling?
Cold mayo.
Air conditioning kicked in yet? No. Not up front anyway. Yeah. So, I'm going to do a couple of things that I don't usually do. But the first thing I'm going to say is, close your books for a second. Because I know everybody got a book in front of them and they're ready to learn and all that other good stuff. But the questions I'm going to ask that we're going to start with today is going to be a couple of easy questions. Some stuff that you should already know. Some what you call brain teasers. Because everybody studied, right?
Okay.
Let me ask that one more time. Everybody studied, right?
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to check this out. I'm just downloading what Chief Uzael sent me. Let's see what's here. Just bear with me 1 second. All this technology. We look like we got some time today, so it's like I didn't even hear my statement. I was going to say the individual who's doing the maftir, I'm going to save some time because I know they spent a lot of time studying this portion. How about that one?
How about that? How about
Nepotism at its finest. Okay, I got it. Download. You didn't send me a correct file, did you?
No.
Okay, just check.
Maybe it's that what's
It's an iPad though.
the iPad phone work properly. Want to use my
All right, so let's ask the easiest of questions. What's today's date? Oh, no. No, he just asked you. He just told y'all. What's today's date on the Hebrew calendar? The 30th of Siwan. Thank you. That's a more important question. When's new moon? Tonight. What's the name of that month in Hebrew? So if you bought a calendar, it might say, anybody can answer these questions. Oh, somebody raise their hand. Okay. I see them whispering. He told me I got to make sure I bring them to Hebrew class, so I'm going to do that. Anybody can answer these questions. If you got a calendar, it might say what? Tammuz. But we don't call it Tammuz anymore, right? Because we know in the Tanakh, that was the name of a what? False god. Come on, y'all, stay with me. Anybody can answer. You're downloading. I'm waiting on it. But, oh, thank you. I appreciate you, as usual. But we changed the name of it to be what? I heard somebody say it. Zokir. And that's the number what month of the year? 4th month of the year. So what's the name of today's portion? Kukwat. Hey, y'all can talk to me, it's all right. Just yell it out. I want to hear it. These are the brain teasers. I'll give y'all the time when y'all can raise your hand. Now, what does Kukwat mean in English? Statute, which is simply what? A rule, right? Lower statutes, commandments, judgments, ordinances, all that good stuff. Okay, so if it's the 30th of Siwan, and tonight starts new moon, and we switched it from Tammuz because we understand that's a false god, right?
Okay.
Where does the portion start at? Uh-oh. I thought I heard Numbers 12. I should know where the portion starts. It's where we started doing the Torah portion from. 19:1. Go ahead, turn there. Where's the Maftir's portion found at? Okay. All right. So what's the first part of the portion about? For those who study, anybody can call it out. What are we talking about? Might sound like the waters of purification. On some of your books, it might say the waters of sprinkling. What does it purify you from? The uncleanness of the dead, right? Okay. And what do you have to have in order to get that? Red heifer. Y'all was studying. Okay. You just have to make sure. Right? So, true or false, in order to have waters of sprinkling, you need to have a red heifer. These waters of sprinkling can make you clean from any uncleanness. What? Wait, let's start again. True or false? In order to have waters of sprinkling, you need to have a red heifer. These waters of sprinkling can make you clean from any uncleanness. Okay, because it only makes you unclean from, clean from the dead. The people who help prepare the waters of sprinkling become unclean by making it. True. And the red heifer had to be slain before Aharon's face. True? False? True? What? How many people say true? How many people say false? Okay. The answer is false. The red heifer had to be slain before Eleazar's face. That's who it was given to. Talking about the portion. And Eleazar was one of how many sons from Aharon? That ain't in the portion. Oh, 4. Okay.
Who you name?
There are 2 days. Okay, name the 4 sons. Go ahead. We're going to start with Eleazar. Go ahead. Whoa. Let me hear you. Go ahead, shout it out. Eleazar, Nadab, Abihu, Itamar. I heard him. 4. Very good. So there's 2 days you got to purify yourself on to be unclean from the dead. What are those 2 days in Hebrew?
Ooh. Nice.
In Hebrew.
You would have had me if you said the third and the seventh in Hebrew. I would have been like, that's good. But no, I want to hear the name in Hebrew. What's the third day? What's the third day? Yom Shalishi. What's the seventh day? Shabbat. No.
Shabbat don't mean Shabbat means rest.
Let's try that again.
What does Shabbat mean?
Shabbat means rest. I keep telling y'all the name of the seventh day of the week. The seventh day of the week is a Shabbat. The name of it, they call it Shabbat, they refer to it as Shabbat, but the name of the seventh day is the seventh day of the week. Same way we say first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day. So let's do it. Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, Yom Shalishi, which is the first day that you have to purify yourself when you're unclean from the dead, correct?
Correct.
Okay, Yom Revi'i, Yom Kamishi, Yom Shishi, and what?
Yom Shabbat.
Y'all not playing along right now, and I know y'all know. Yom what? Nashiva Hashvi'i. Yom Hashvi'i is the name of the seventh day. Any seventh day. Why? Because it could be the seventh day of something, but not necessarily the seventh day of the week.
Right.
Correct?
Correct.
You're unclean at any time, you got to count 7 days. So when a woman gets unclean, she may get unclean on Yom Shalishi. In this instance, would be the same case. 7 days later would be that Yom Sheni. Correct?
Right.
Okay. I thought I'd hear from more women than men there. 7 days later, the 7th day would complete that cycle. Shalishi to Sheni. So you have to understand that the 7th day is the 7th day. But we're going to begin in the book of Numbers, beginning in the 19th chapter. We're going to talk about these waters of sprinkling. And I want y'all to understand this. It was important this time for these people to understand how they would become unclean by the dead, because what was they going to do? They're going to fight. They're going to kill people. The tent of meeting is in the midst of them. People bring offerings all the time. People come to praise God all the time. You have to understand what would bring you close to God and what would keep you away from God, and how you would separate yourself. And this uncleanness that's being talked about in this day and time, talking about in the Tanakh, although it hasn't changed, he's saying that there's something different that you need to do. This is more than just soap and water. This is more than just, oh, it's just going to go away. This is more than being passed through the fire. When you're unclean from the dead, there's a certain concoction that I need in order for you to become clean from it so that you can stand before me again. But we'll begin in the book of Numbers.
Yeah.
Some children will go downstairs. They're figuring that out. We'll begin to read. The book of Numbers beginning in the 19th chapter.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe and unto Aharon, saying, This is the statute of the Lord which Yahweh hath commanded, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel that they bring thee a red heifer faultless.
Okay. What is a red heifer? A red cow. A red female cow. Well, all cows are females, right?
I'll call it female.
I'm just, let's say clear. I got you.
There's also something more.
All cows are females. Got bulls, you got cows. We need a young female cow. A young female red cow that would indeed be slaughtered for this concoction. So see.
Faultless, wherein there is no blemish, and upon which never came yoke. And ye shall give her unto Eleazar the priest, and she shall be brought forth without the camp, and she shall be slain before his face.
Which I just asked y'all, so see.
And Eleazar the priest shall take up her blood with his finger, and sprinkle of her blood toward the front of the tent of meeting 7
times. Here we go. So what is the purpose? No, what causes the priest to be unclean until the evening? That's all we're studying. Here we go with Eleazar. He's killing a red heifer. He's throwing blood around 7 times.
Right.
And I want y'all to consider this. A red heifer is clean for us to eat. It's a clean animal. There's nothing wrong with a cow. But eventually, he's going to become unclean by this. And the people who clean it is going to become, and the people who prepare it is going to become unclean by this. Yet, the very concoction in its totality is going to make you clean from your uncleanness.
Right.
And you may ask me, why is that? And the answer's simple. I don't know.
That's it.
That's how God made it. And it's so. That's exactly how God made it.
That's right.
In preparation, it makes you unclean.
That's right.
However, in its totality, it will allow you to be clean.
Right.
Don't fight it. Because sometimes in us trying to make everything simplistic and it has to make sense to us, God has not explained everything to us.
Right.
There's a way that this has to be prepared and obvious. It should be obvious to us that being unclean from the dead brings us into a different type of state. And that's why God is telling us to prepare it the way he's telling us to prepare it. And the sprinkling of blood, what is that about? We don't know. But that's how God wanted it. Learn to accept some things for what they are as opposed to what makes sense to us. And it goes on to read.
Verse 5. And the heifer shall be burnt in his sight. Her skin and her flesh and her blood with her dung shall be burnt.
So this is like the whole burnt offering, right? Don't switch anything from it. Don't cut it up and all that other stuff. Just burn it because we need the ashes. And it goes.
And the priest shall take cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet and cast it into the midst of the burning of the heifer.
Yeah, so now you're putting that in too. The scarlet, the hyssop, burn it all up. It's all going to be one thing. And it reads.
Then the priest shall wash his clothes, and he shall bathe his flesh in water. And afterward he may come into the camp, and the priest shall be unclean
until the evening. I thought y'all read this part. This is the part where it says you'll be unclean to the evening.
Right.
He's burning stuff.
Right.
He killed it.
Right.
Now you're unclean. Remove yourself. Separate yourself. Because you're going to be unclean until the evening. But it goes on to read.
And he that burneth her shall wash his clothes in water, and bathe his flesh in water, and shall be unclean until the evening.
So see.
And a man that is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer, and lay them up without the camp in a clean place. And it shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel for a water of sprinkling. It is a purification from sin.
I want y'all to understand this here. Death is never a good thing. It's a fact of life and it happens. But it's never a good thing. And we should want to keep ourselves far away from it. We should not want to keep ourselves around the dead or keep ourselves in a state that keep us perpetually unclean.
Right.
Why is it a purification from sin? I don't know. But I would say anything that keeps you away from the congregation of the Most High God cannot be good. It happens to all of us at some time, at some point of our lives. But we should not be in that perpetual state.
Right.
It should not be that every time we can't come into the congregation of the Most High God. That's why it's a bad thing when we choose to separate ourselves from the congregation of the Most High God, no matter where you go. When you just don't want to be around the people, because this is what allows you to become closer to God. Right. Not that you have to go to one place, but you should be going to some place. And if you're always talking about, oh, I'm unclean, I'm like this or I'm like that, sometimes you might have to consider what's happening with you. Now, that's excluding the fact of some women who they have their cycle, their menstruation, that time of the month, out of their time, some things are going on with their body hormonally that may be beyond your control. And even then, you should pray to the Most High God and ask for healing.
Amen.
But in this instance here, the person who initially burned the ashes, he's not the person who burned the animal. He's not the person who collects the ashes. You're unclean. Go make yourself clean. And now let's go get another clean person, and the clean person accepts the ashes. And he collects them and he brings it to a clean place. And then what happens after that?
And he that gathereth the ashes of the heifer shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the even. And it shall be unto the children of Israel, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among them,
for a statute forever. Now he becomes unclean also. Separate people who started off who started off clean, took a clean animal. Everything about this seems clean, and in their preparation of this, they become unclean.
Mm-hmm.
But the Most High God is saying, this is how you should prepare it for them and follow these statutes as is. Not everything in this book can be explained the way that we would like. But if it was clean, how does it make you unclean?
Mm.
Because God said it.
Right.
Don't fight it. But that doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't always have to make sense to you. If God knows that it's good, we should accept it as good. You know, a lot of times it's instances like these that people try to disprove this book, you know. A lot of times people will come and they'll say, you follow a book that contradicts itself. And it doesn't contradict itself. It's only in your mind you can't fathom why one thing can be one way and then another thing can be another way.
Right.
Except the fact that you can't explain your own existence. That's the difference between the two. And I take instances like these to show ourselves is that a lot of times when something is being explained to you and you don't understand it, don't let it stop your progression.
Right.
Don't let it stop you from moving forward just because you can't explain it. Some things are okay to keep moving forward with, even though you don't understand it, and maybe later on in life, some clarity will come to you, and then you will understand. But none of us can understand God. None of us can understand God. At any time, or any season. A lot of times we like to think, how can God kill babies? Or why would God allow babies to die? And we don't know what that baby was born for, or what purpose God had for that baby. All we think is about our emotions and how we feel about that baby. I'm telling you that because we're talking about death in these times in this chapter right here. And none of us know how long we're supposed to be. Not a near one of us. We don't know if we were meant to live a day, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, up to 100 years, even 200 years. None of us know. All we know is that we can live the time that we have here and try to obtain a blessing in that time and leave a heritage for those after us. Am I right or am I wrong?
Right.
That's all we can do. So a lot of times when we look at instances like this and we're trying to understand, appreciate people for the time that they were here.
That's right.
A lot of times we focus on the fact that they're gone. A lot of times we focus on the fact that we can't get from them what they used to give to us. But the fact is that none of us can rewind. None of us can go back in time, and all we can do is make the best of our circumstance.
Right.
And I'm going to talk about us counting our blessings later on in the chapter. I'm going to talk about, later on in the portion, I'm going to talk about how often we take things for granted that are before us, and then once it's gone, we cry about it, and we complain about it. And we start to make other people the scapegoat. And a lot of times, appreciate life for just what it is, life. While it's living, while it's before you, while you can see it moving, breathing, and operating, as opposed to dealing in the past. And death is always the past. Death is always the past. It's the end of the fact. You will understand where that line has been drawn, and God has called us back. It goes on to read.
Verse 11. He that toucheth the dead, even any man's dead body,
shall be unclean
7 days.
So if you touch a dead body, you're unclean. That's it. Accept that for what it is. Go on.
The same shall purify himself therewith on the 3rd day and on the 7th day, and he shall be clean. But if he purify not himself the 3rd day and the 7th day, he shall not be clean.
Okay.
Whosoever toucheth the dead, even the body of any man that is dead, and purifieth not himself, he hath defiled the tabernacle of Yahweh, that soul shall be cut off from Israel, because the water of sprinkling was not dashed against him. He shall be unclean. His uncleanness is yet upon him.
Now listen, I want y'all to understand this. No water of sprinkling touch you, you're unclean.
Right.
You can't fight it. It is what it is. And in this instance, they're talking about the presumptuous sin. In this instance, this is like you have the waters of purification, and you don't dash yourself on the third day and seventh day. Because you know how people do. It's the third day. I don't feel like doing that right now. I'll do it tomorrow. I dash myself on the fourth and the fifth day if that makes you feel better. Like you doing the Lord for me. Because a lot of times when you explain it to people, instructions, laws, statutes, commandments, and judgments, people oftentimes when they don't want to do it, they think it's you. I'm supposed to stop doing everything that I'm doing on the third day and on the seventh day to sprinkle some water on me. I tell you what the sinner does, what the violator does, what the rebel does. So if I don't sprinkle myself on the third day, then what's going to happen to me? I'm going to melt? No, you're going to be a sinner.
Right.
Which is what it says right here. If you don't follow, you following the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God is for you. For your own personal righteousness. What will allow you to come closer to God. When you follow laws, statutes, commandments, and judgments, it's for each and every one of us in order to make us righteous. Not for anybody else. When you don't sprinkle yourself on the third day, on the seventh day, God is saying here, you're going to be cut off. However he decides to cut you off. Now I want y'all to consider this. Before this chapter here, did we have the waters of sprinkling? Now, of course, I want y'all to understand this. Everything is not in chronological order. And where we're at now is toward the end of the 40 years. So keep that in mind. Last week's portion, how many people died? Okay.
In totality and all.
Totality.
14,950.
What is the sprinkling? It's a lot of people to bury.
Yeah, makes
That's
sense.
a lot. That's a lot of people handling the dead, and that's from what the Most High taking care of. We have to bury the dead. We remember when Nadab and Abihu, they told his cousins, carry him out by their tunics, right? It's one of those deals. A lot of times, which is what we should be dealing with, we're thinking about burying one person at a time. No more than two. We don't think about thousands of people, even 100 people. That just sounds crazy. That's a lot of people mourning. Unfortunately, we built our own circumstance by rebelling against the word of the Most High God. And that's what was happening in these portions. And God is now telling us how to become clean. Last week's portion, there were portions before that we talk about a lot of people dying. Now he's telling you, listen, this is how you're going to remain clean. This is how you're going to remain clean from the dead. Then we begin to understand why he didn't really want the priest leaving the tent of meeting or the temple.
Right.
Then we begin to understand why he was like, when you're holy and you separate yourself, you can't really be mixing and mingling around too many people because you got a job before you stand before the Most High.
Right, right.
Now we begin to understand about the Shabbat and the preparation that is required in order to be prepared for the day, in order to come and stand before God. And I don't need to see you prepared. I don't need to be the one to sit there, Shabbat check. Did you iron your clothes before the sun went down? Did you turn off your television? Did you cook what you were supposed to cook and seed what you needed to seed before the sun went down? I say this to people all the time. It's like, if a woman says she's unclean, are we going to take her word for it?
You have to. You have to.
Don't scare me.
I was almost sure everybody's going to be like, yeah.
Take a word for it. I don't want to see that.
Right.
What in the world is going on here? You're unclean? Fine, no problem. I believe you. Why? Because it's only your unrighteousness, not mine. If you're saying you're unclean and that's why you can't come to service, that doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. If you're lying or not. It's you removing yourself from the Most High God. And eventually God's going to cut you off anyway. You unclean, be unclean. Same thing for males. You unclean? Be unclean. Because when your heart's to serve God, it will draw you here. Nobody will have to tell you. You'll want to be around the people of the Most High God. You'll be inside your house and you'll be like, man, I'm unclean again. It becomes a frustrating thing sitting inside the house, knowing people are praising God, and you sitting inside the house looking at four walls like, wow. I told y'all, the internet, y'all spoiled. Because before they had the internet hooked up, and before there was internet, you was sitting there just like, man, how much of this you gonna read? Even Solomon said, much study is wearisome to the heart.
Right.
I think one Shabbat I read the entire book of Job, and I must have retained like 3 chapters. Why? Because even though it's like, what is it, 40-something chapters? I forgot. It's been a while since I read the entire book or looked at it. But after a while, you just kind of read it.
Yeah.
The words aren't coming into your soul. Sometimes you need to speak to some people and be like, hey, what do you think that was about then? What does that mean? And stuff like that. I couldn't take house arrest. Couldn't be me. You sit there, you like just reading all day long. And that's how you know the people who actually want to serve God. That's how you know people who want to get closer. Because you want to congregate, you want to be around your brothers and your sisters. You want to be around people that not only make you feel good, but people who understand the way you serve God. Why do you think oftentimes when people stop coming out to places, you see them often creeping back out, going to work, having conversations on the phone with people who don't serve God, which eventually leads them into conversations that have nothing to do with the Shabbat day. You start creeping little things in here, there, and next thing you know, you're gone. Don't separate yourself. When you do separate yourself for holiness, not for wickedness. We'll move forward. What verse are we in?
14.
Let's see.
This is the law when a man dieth in the tent. Everyone that cometh into the tent, and everything that is in the tent, shall be unclean 7 days. And every open vessel which hath no covering clothes bound upon it is unclean. And whosoever in the open field toucheth one that is slain with a sword, or one that dieth of himself, or a bone of a man or a grave, shall be unclean 7 days. And for the unclean they shall take of the ashes of the burning of the purification from sin, and running water shall be put thereto in the vessel. And a clean person shall take hyssop, and dip it in the water, and sprinkle it upon the tent, and upon all the vessels, and upon the persons that were there, and upon him that touched the bone, or the slain, or the dead, or the grave.
Okay, so, now in order for the tent to be clean, you got to have these waters of purification. There's waters of sprinkling, right?
Yeah.
If they die inside your house, you need those waters of purification, right?
Okay.
You need the waters of sprinkling?
Yeah.
I don't hear y'all.
Yeah.
Right now. Okay. So what about a hospital?
Absolutely.
What about a hospital? I'm asking you.
It's everywhere.
Okay. Because this is what the deal is. Let's not try to act like we're not living amongst our unholy people. And let's not try to act like we don't know that there are places that we have absolutely no idea whether it's clean or whether it's unclean, and that we're just operating on the mercy of the Most High God.
Okay, that's right.
Acknowledge it for what it is.
That's right.
Manhattan, not just lower Manhattan. Manhattan is an African burial ground. Buildings that they disrespected our graves. That initially, when they would just settle in and they were taking over the ports and they just used it as a trade area, they sent us further up so we had a place to bury our dead. And as they began to branch out and go over the island of Manhattan, you think they were worried about our graves? They were fighting over whether certain buildings should be built over certain land in Manhattan because they understood it to be African burial ground. And you know what they still did? They still built it. Right over our forefathers' graves. Slaves. And this time, in this country, They don't have respect for our dead. And understanding that and knowing it for what it is, we have to know and understand that, yeah, we can't control it, and yeah, we don't have the waters of sprinkling, but there's a certain way for us to operate so that we understand that when we return to the land, those waters of sprinkling are going to be needed. That when we go in and we take over those houses that people have already built, those waters of sprinkling are needed. Those waters of purification. And it already said in the book of Ezekiel, I believe, the 39th chapter, that we'll spend how many months burying the dead? 7 months. 7 months. That wasn't even important. 7 months burying the dead. Waters of sprinkling. Waters of purification. Making ourselves clean before the Most High God. And it reads.
Verse 19. And the clean person shall sprinkle upon the unclean on the 3rd day and on the 7th day. And on the 7th day he shall purify him. He shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and shall be clean at even. But the man that shall be unclean and shall not purify himself, that soul shall be cut off from the midst of the assembly, because he hath defiled the sanctuary of Jehovah. The water of sprinkling have not been dashed against him.
He is unclean. Now I want y'all to understand this here. Again, that's the presumptuous person.
That's right.
You know you're unclean. I want y'all to understand what I'm saying here. You know you're unclean. I don't need to see you when you got unclean or where you was at. You know you're unclean. And you still decide to come into the sanctuary. God is talking about people like you to cut you off. Because you got people, and I say again, we have to, there's sometimes when people don't know, we have to educate them. We have to educate sisters as they come through this door and let them know, hey, listen, when it's that time of the month, when you have that cycle upon you, you should separate yourself for 7 days. And we have to educate brothers to let them know, if you have that occurrence by night, to know that when there's that emission that comes from you, you have to separate yourself. We have to let people know, like, hey, listen, when you have a venereal disease and you have that issue, separate yourself.
Okay.
That's not an appropriate time for you to come to the place of worship.
And fellowship.
And understand, and fellowship. Understand how to separate yourself.
Right.
And give God the glory.
Right.
Sometimes when people want to see their friends, want to see their family, like, I don't do that anyway. Nobody's going to know. Nobody may know, but God knows. Say, when people, when you do sin, stop thinking about looking at who's watching you.
That's right.
Just think about the Most High. I guarantee you that'll guide you better every time. Every time you'll stop and your conscience will get the best of you. But you got to put some Torah in your head.
Oh, yeah.
You got to put some Torah in your head to know that you're doing something wrong.
Right.
If you don't know you're doing anything wrong, then yeah, you keep walking in your sin. But at least when you know you're doing something wrong, at least smite your thigh. At least take the time to stop and say, okay, this is what this is and this is what that is. Understand how to serve God. Be clean. Be holy. Understand his expectations of us and come forth prepared to praise. And it reads.
21. And it shall be a perpetual statute unto them. He that sprinketh the water of sprinkling shall wash his clothes, and he that toucheth the water of sprinkling shall be unclean until even. And whatsoever the unclean person toucheth shall be unclean, and the soul that toucheth him shall be unclean until the even.
So see.
Chapter 20. And the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, came into the wilderness of Zin in the first month, and the people abode in Kadesh. And Miriam died there and was buried there.
So, we were talking about how you become clean, and now somebody died. Now, Miriam wasn't just any other woman. She was a prophetess, and she was Moses' sister. Correct?
Okay.
Okay. And there was going to be that time for mourning, because we do mourn our dead. Now, I want y'all to understand the stage that's being set here. When people begin to mourn, you think about your very own finality.
Your mortality.
And mortality. you can't help but think about it.
Right.
And if you don't think about it, you're not really paying attention to what's happening to you. I told you earlier that we're going to begin to talk about counting your blessings. Because a lot of times, as I told y'all before, you start to think about what's happening in your life, what's happening around you, and you begin to become malcontent if you haven't reached what you expected to reach, and it doesn't fit into your idea of what your life should have been. And that's normal to be upset when you haven't reached your goals. What's not acceptable is when you make somebody else the scapegoat for why you haven't reached your goal.
Right.
You have to control your own circumstance. And you have to learn to accept your circumstance for what it is. If I was born without a finger, it is what it is. My finger's missing. I can think about why God allowed me to be born without a finger, but another finger more than likely is not going to grow out my hand. If I lost my finger yesterday, which thank God I didn't, it's not coming back. That's my circumstance. I have to own it. I have to accept it as such. Well, why do I say that? Because here Miriam died, and these people have been wandering around the wilderness, and what ends up happening is you begin to think, is this going to be my life? That all I do is set up tents and break them down and run around trees and try to keep myself safe from people that are round about us that clearly don't like us. Why do I say that? Because here we are in captivity with no land of our own, working other people's jobs, doing other people's will, making them rich, establishing their heritage and not our own. And a lot of times we stop and we look at ourselves and we're like, why am I doing this? And why should I have to do this? And why should I always be somebody's slave and somebody's servant when I'm just as smart as they are if I'm not smarter? And don't think that it doesn't happen to you, because as adults, we often see people in positions who are in better positions than us, and we stop and say to ourselves, well, I can do the job 10 times better than that person. Why that person? And I'm going to tell you why that person. It's a very simple and logical reason. Because you're in captivity. And God wanted you to feel just like this so we could understand how we made him feel when we refused to serve him. And it's in this book. And it's plain as day, and we still get upset about it. We still get upset about our circumstances instead of trying to change it. We know that we're here to pay. Right. But the fact of the matter is that because we like it here and we don't think it's that bad, and we refuse to admit that to ourselves, we stop and we say, oh, why does it have to be like this? And then we become envious of our oppressors. We become envious of our unholy, wicked oppressors. We become envious of non-Torah keeping individuals, knowing that you can change your circumstance. I think I said this to y'all before. The first step is getting out the bed, right? The first step to success is getting out the bed. If you can't get out the bed, it ain't gonna work. All we know is that we want money, and that money is going to answer all our problems, and that once we have some money, you know what? We're going to have a school. And when we have this school, that's going to allow us to better educate our children. We're going to have our own daycare, and we're going to be by ourselves because we're going to be in this huddle, and that, no more our children are going to look to other people to try to be like them, and we're going to be these righteous servants. That's how that works, right? I sound a little bit too sarcastic for y'all to fall into that. I was just about to say, when we had our own land, it wasn't working out like that. When we was in our own borders and other people weren't there, we were still looking to other people to be like them. So change your mindset. Let's knock it off for a second. Don't start blaming white people and the white man and the Chinese man and the Indian man and the Jewish man for the reason why you're not successful. Because it ain't got nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with our righteousness and how we perform concerning God and one another. That's our issue. And we don't want to accept that. A lot of times I always say, we stop and think, I'm not that bad. I am not that bad. I can point to 8 other people that's worse than me. Like that makes you better. Yeah, I do bad, but they do worse. Bad is bad when it's bad. And that's not double talk. Bad is bad when it's bad. That wasn't a good thing that I did. And I know God sees me. Too often, we look at individuals that's before us and we want to take them as our barometer for success. And I told y'all about self-esteem. When you're busy looking at somebody else to determine how pretty you are, how good you look, how righteous you may be, you fall short every time. Because you limit yourself to the person before you. Set the bar for you. Set the bar and allow it to be righteousness. Don't allow it to be arrogance. Just set the bar for you. This is what's going to make me righteous. And when other people see me, they're going to see a righteous and a holy person. When other people see me, they're going to see somebody who's trying to serve God in spite of themselves. That's why I always say, and I'm going to get into this in a little while, when people don't want to curse around you, cuss around you, whatever way you're saying it, there's a reason why they don't want to do that. When people don't want to bring certain conversations up to you, there's a reason why they're doing that. And it's the way you're holding yourself. When the fear of God is on you, people will bring holy conversation around you and ask you about being holy. And then it's your turn to bring up that type of conversation. If that's what you're interested in doing. Now, why do I say that about righteous conversation? You know, all it takes is one gossiping, cancerous soul to start corrupting everybody. All it takes is one complainer. One complainer. You know why I don't like principle? And it starts. If somebody don't shut that off, it starts. He's automatically become the scapegoat. Because then you planted the seed in somebody else's head to stop and say, yeah, this is why I don't like principle. Mm-hmm. Like principle did something to you. And he did do something to you. He told you to stop doing something that you shouldn't be doing. Right. And 9 times out of 10, that makes the person the worst offender in the world. That's right. We like to think that we don't need instruction. That's why we don't read Torah. Like, I'm good. You know how I go. I'm grown. I need anybody to tell me. If I didn't do something that was right, that's because I made that conscious decision not to do that which is right. I know how to do the right thing. You think I need you to tell me what to do? Well, if I don't need to tell you what to do, somebody needs to tell you what to do. Obviously, you're not telling yourself what to do. That's right. This is what happens here. And I'm telling y'all, the people started murmuring again, and that the people were looking at the fact that Miriam died, and they were looking at Moses getting older, and they thought he was becoming weak, and they thought he was becoming soft, and they had yet to realize he was not becoming weak. He was not becoming soft. And the simple fact that he had God on his side. But, you know, Misery loves company. One person starts whispering, another person starts whispering. Now you got a group. A group leads into a congregation. Congregation leads to a couple of congregations. Next thing you know, you got 14,000 people left.
Mm.
And we don't consider it like that. Because you know why? We look at this book and we say to ourselves, that's them and that's not me. When you sit there and you look at situations, I mean, the easiest time for us to see it is when it's flipped on us. You see it happening to somebody else and you're like, I don't want to get involved. Then when it happens to you, you're crying to everybody, how come nobody wants to help me?
Right.
How does that work out like that? Unless you haven't considered God. Here, we're going to start to read the same old story. And what's so bad, what is so bad and so ironic that we do the same things in these days and times is that we're going to see a situation that their fathers went through and that they went about it the same way their fathers went about it, and the same negative result happened. And that's just crazy. That's Einstein's, what do they call that? Einstein's thing on,
Theory?
Yeah, of insanity. I don't know how was that. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. That's crazy. But I'm going to tell you how crazy it is. When you're miserable and you don't try to change the circumstance, all you can do is complain. That's all you can do. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. And I'm going to complain about it. Somebody's going to hear me until they do something about it. The worst thing in the world is trying to lead people who don't want to be led. And this was Moses' enviable job. God told him to go lead the people, and that's what he had to do. And he's sitting there talking to a people, and like, everybody think they know more than you. Everybody knows more than you. And I mean, the man only lifted up a staff and split an entire sea by the power of the Most High God. I mean, how much more do you want after that? Unless you're just bent on evil. But let's see what these people were talking about. It reads,
Verse 2. And there was no water for the congregation. And they assembled themselves together against Moshe and against Aharon. And the people strove with Moshe and spoke, saying, would that we have perished when our brethren perished before Jehovah.
Wow.
Is that not blasphemy?
Ungrateful.
That's crazy. If only I died with my brother. Who wants to die? Are you out your mind? Your brothers died, one, because they didn't want to listen. Two, when they had the opportunity to go up and take the land, they didn't want to take the land. Don't sit there and try to act like I'm the reason why we out here. You're the reason why we had to spend 40 more years out here. That's not me. But people need a scapegoat. And I'm going to tell you why. I wrote this part down. When people become uncomfortable, it can lead to sin. When not handled properly, it can lead to jealousy, envy, covetousness, gossiping and spreading false reports, and downright lying about a person. How dare you make me the scapegoat because you feel the way about a situation? Go change your situation. Don't blame me.
That's right.
You don't like somebody? Find out why you don't like the person. Don't start blaming other people about why they like them and all that other stuff. Your ways will dictate how people feel about you.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it goes. You can't blame leadership for why the people are the way they are. You want to unify? do your part to make sure true unity is happening. And conversely, you want true unity, stop doing things that will not allow people to bring themselves closer to you. You can't do something against me and then wonder why I don't want to unify with you and say I'm holding up unity. That's not me, that's you. You know you did something wrong. Accept that for what it is. Not for me. Oh, you don't want to go around certain people. Yeah, you're right. Pardon me for not wanting to be constantly upset with your behavior. I was quite all right before you started coming around doing what you're doing. That's how it is. Excuse me if I don't expose myself to your constant gossiping, because every time I'm talking to a woman, that's who I want to be my Isha. Pardon me. This is crazy. And we stop and we have meetings and we argue about this stuff. I'm not meeting over that. I'm not sitting down having a conversation with you about why you decide to keep spreading false reports. I'm not having a conversation with you and we need to have unity and we need to iron out our own problems and you testifying against me in court. What kind of foolishness is that? Where do they do that at? Israel. It's true. We laugh, but it's true. And you know what? I'm going to stop laughing because we don't start getting upset about this stuff enough.
Right.
Israelites, when they don't get it their way, then they want to take it someplace else. And then you got brothers and sisters that's co-signing that stuff. Yeah, I do that too. Shame on you too. The whole lot of y'all need to stay over there. You can't stop and you sit down and think. You're like, yeah, we're going to iron out our own problems and then not try to iron out our own problems because it's not in your favor. Right. The scapegoat. Covetousness. You want the peace that somebody else has. Understand the covetousness that I'm talking about. You want the peace that somebody else has, but you're unwilling to work for it. So you decide to make them miserable. You're wrong. They didn't do anything to you at any time or in any season. You don't like the way a situation is unraveling. And because you don't like the person, you just sit down and you're like, oh, I'm going to talk to somebody about that person. If I don't like somebody, that should be my business. That shouldn't be me, Zakar, Meku, Chief, Naftali Bendan, Principal. That shouldn't be everybody's business. I got to have a conversation with you, then have a conversation with you, then with you, now with you. By the time I go get over here, Zakar's like, you still talking about that same brother? You still talking about that same sister? It's one of those things where it's like, yo, you don't like them, let it be. Move forward. Separate yourself. Let's do some more productive things. We have more meetings about trying to settle, diffuse, unify, things of that nature. Unify when we can't unify. Understand what I'm saying? As opposed to building something positive and just moving forward with it. Meetings about let's have a collective bank account. How dare we? A collective bank account. I gotta keep putting money into something that I may not see back in any way, shape, or form. Instead of thinking of the positive of I'm gonna see my money turn into something positive in the community that all of us can benefit from. But part of the problem is that we still don't see the place where we call upon God as a place that it can benefit the entire community. You're still looking at it as a place of worship. Yeah, I go there. That's what I do on Saturday. That's a problem. These people wanted water. They seen their forefathers cry for water. They seen that either the pieces of the tree were thrown into the water and it made it sweet, or that they hit the rock and the water came forth from the rock, and all they knew is that they wanted some water. That's all they knew. And I'm going to complain about it. Instead of considering the fact that they've been living for almost 40 years in the wilderness where they didn't get water consistently, and just adjusting and accepting the fact that water wasn't coming that easy. You was going to eat manna. The manna probably had enough water content for you to survive, and had enough vitamins and minerals for you to survive and be successful, but you never felt exactly satisfied. And there were some times where you felt thirsty, but you would have been fine. I say this, my children are here. I say this to my children like all the time. They've been here for like 2 weeks, and they're trying to eat me out of house and home.
All day.
And I'm like, I'm not buying you any more food. You will be fine. It's okay. I want a snack. I know you do. Drink some water. You'll be fine.
You're right. Water always
Here we
works.
go, water again, right?
Water works.
You'll be okay.
You got to put a restriction.
Can I get some of this? And he's like, listen, I already know what the deal is. You go to BJ's, you put everything in the house.
And they eat
go to
it all in one day.
They clear it.
In a weekend.
And then they're like, I'm hungry. And they keep coming asking you. And you're like, I just bought this amount of food. It's impossible that y'all eat all that food. And you walk in there,
4 boxes
and
of
it's
cereal
gone. So then, what do? They get upset because you take the food and you leave it in your room and you lock it up. And you're like, don't touch it. But he got juice in there. But he got the cereal in there and he won't give it to us. I'm saving you from yourselves. Trust me. I know. I lived that life.
You gotta ration it
I'm
out.
about that life.
You only got one. You got 2.
Well, I'm telling y'all that, and we make jokes about it, but I'm telling y'all that because these people, they were hungry. Exactly. You definitely ain't saving no money that way. You sit there, you're like, these people were thirsty. They had a good reason to feel, I want some water. But guess what? They already knew they wasn't getting no water. They knew that. They understood that. But they chose to complain. Why? Because they seen a proven method that you complain, you whine, you cry, and eventually God will answer you, even if it's in threat of your life.
Wow.
And that's a bad way of thinking. That's a horrible way of thinking. Because you know, there's sometimes that people deal with circumstances and they go, I know I'm wrong, but God is just going to have to judge me for this. I'm telling you, people do it. And that's dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Because when you do that, you're presuming that you can handle the judgment God is going to give you. Without thinking to yourself that there is no offering for presumptuous sin. God feels a certain way about people who know better and still do it.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to see later on with Moses, he let people take him there. And God felt that he should have known. God said he should have known better. That being understood, why don't we take the stances that we take when we're just like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this anyway. I know that this is wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway. I want y'all to consider that as we move forward. Because this people here, it's not like they seen one person die. It's not like they seen 2 people die, 100 people die, 200 people die. They seen that generation that wasn't going into the land, 20 and above, 21 and above. Most of them are almost done. Like that's almost the end of the deal. And to see all those people die, to see those events, and I'll say catastrophic, by the hand of the Most High God, and to still operate this way is insane. It doesn't make any type of sense. It's foolishness. And us as a people knowing better have to do better. Us as a people, knowing better, have to do better.
Come on.
No more feigned unity. No more fake friends. No more smiling in each other's face knowing that we don't mean it. Let's stop it. If you don't like somebody, confront the person and look for righteous resolution. Stop and say, listen, this is what I didn't like. And if you can't deal with a person, admit it for what it is. Listen, I'm not around you because I realize that I don't like being around you. Nothing personal against you. Just you maintain who you are and I'll maintain who I am. And that's okay. It's all right. Not everybody gets along. But when we're in the proverbial sandbox, all of us should be able to play. And there's enough space for everyone. But we're refusing to accept that. I can sit down for a Shabbat and fellowship and give praise to God without screw-facing somebody. But thinking, oh, why is she here? Leave that alone. Stop making somebody else the reason why you're upset. If these people wanted water, they should have prayed to God about it. Because God is the one who led them into the wilderness. Why not pray to him about it? I'm going to tell you why. The same reason why we don't pray in these days and times. Because we know that God is not going to put up with our complaining, whimpering, and things of that nature. Right. You imagine complaining to God like he owes you something. You're really not going to get anything. And you know it. So you rather stress somebody out. You rather make them think 2-3 times about how they're dealing with things and try to paint them as the wrong person. So hopefully you can get what you want. Not understanding because these people are going to get water. Not understanding that even if they got water today, well, if our forefathers were complaining about water and there wasn't a consistent source there, then obviously the longer we stay in this wilderness, the harder it's going to be for us to get water. So we need to get out of this wilderness. Let me say that one more time, just in case you don't understand the parallel. We need to get out of this wilderness. You want it to work properly. Let's get ourselves in a position where God would desire to bless us so we won't have to stay in the wilderness looking for that proverbial water. You want to see the light at the end of the tunnel? You want to see unity? You want the riches that the Most High God promised in this book? What are we going to do about it to ensure that God would decide to? But do we still not look at it like that yet? And I don't think we do. But I choose to think positive to say that after lessons like these, that the wheels will begin to turn, that people will decide to do something better. And in us deciding to do something better, I also want us to understand this. There's a remnant being chose for a reason. And remnant is not all inclusive. And accept that for what it is and deal with it for what it is. And it reads,
Verse 4. And why have ye brought the assembly of Yahweh into this wilderness to die there, we and our cattle? And wherefore have ye made us to come up out of Egypt to bring us into this evil place? It is no place of seed or figs or vines or pomegranates. Is there any water to drink?
Now I want y'all to understand this. We're going to start to read in a minute, but I want y'all to understand this. Did y'all see what they did there? They made Moses the problem. They're thirsty, and they made Moses the problem. They didn't say anything about water. It said they struggled with him and said, would that we had perished when our brethren perished before Yahweh. And it said, and why have you brought the assembly of Yahweh into this wilderness to die there, we and our cattle? This is your fault, Moses. And wherefore have you made us to come up out of Egypt to bring us into this evil place? This is your fault, Moses. It is no place of seed, or of figs, or of vines, or of pomegranates, neither is there any water to drink. This is you. Nobody else but you. And I'm going to give y'all some examples. This is us in these days and times. Show you just what these people in the book did. I only failed because you didn't help me. I'm late because you didn't wake me up. And you don't know what I go through. I'm hungry because you didn't feed me. I didn't study because I don't have time. Not everybody's like you, Moses. That's what people do in these days and times. You make everybody else the reason why you didn't do what you had to do. At what point am I supposed to call you and find out how busy your schedule is so that I can say, okay, this is the point where you have to fit in your study time? I sit down and I tell my children, I'm like, hey, listen, there's a lot of things going on in the day. You have to make the time for you to understand what you need to do. You can't be like, oh, you told me to wash the dishes and that's why I didn't get it done. How does it work out like that? One child doing exceptionally well and one child walking the line, bordering. How is that? You're being told to do the same thing the other child is being told to do. Why is it? And I say the same thing all the time. It's your commitment to do that which is right. When you get up in the morning, you know what you want to get done. When you want to ask for something, you know what you want to get done. We make time for the things that we like, and we know it, and we refuse to admit it to ourselves. Well, when we have our children and rearing them right and causing them to do the right thing, you can't allow them to be lazy. You can't allow them to make excuses and make you the scapegoat while they're not being successful. Dishes have to be washed every day. Your bedroom has to be clean every day. You can't sit down and look at me and be like, oh, I came in because before I got here, I know what you was doing. Nothing. We can't make our job as an excuse for why we don't study. This is not chattel slavery. And even in slavery times, they were studying to some degree. And if they weren't studying, they were talking to one another about it. So let's just cut out the nonsense. We know what it is. Now, conversely, when provided the adequate resources, people find fault with the person who points out the deficiencies. For example, why didn't you just tell me this is what I had to do? Like it's my job to lead you. At one minute, you don't want me to lead you and you're making up excuses why you couldn't get it done. Now it's, oh, this is all you had to do. That point, now I want y'all to understand this. This point that I'm talking about here is after the judgment comes. After the punishment comes, because we're going to see this in this portion. How come you don't provide blank? You fill in the blank. You make me want to be late by, and you fill in the blank. I just, when this happens, it just makes me feel like not coming. I only waste food because. And yeah, I talk about food and I talk about children and things of that nature because a lot of times when we complaining about eating and things of that nature, we never thought about how we're going to ensure that we have food. We never thought about how we're going to ensure that we don't waste food so that we have some now and save some for later. You know, when you go in your refrigerator and you say it's empty, and then you pull out like 20 bowls with old food in it.
It's not empty. It's a lot of food there.
There's food in there. But you had it there, and let's admit it. You want to eat what you want to eat. Mm-hmm. And you want to drink what you want to drink. Ain't no food in there. There's rice right there. But we had rice yesterday.
Uh-oh.
Well, excuse me. Maybe I need to go get some couscous.
Eat that.
Maybe I need to get some fine oriental noodles for you to have with your fish. Or filet mignon, or whatever people eating. I'm not a red meat eater like that. This is what we do. Just because I don't study what you want me to study doesn't mean that I don't study. Okay, so then what do you study? Let's not talk about that. We know the excuses we make up. This is my whole point. Well, Moses in this case was the proverbial scapegoat. In their minds, operative word being there, he was solely responsible for leading them out the wilderness, taking them away from Egypt, not providing water for them and their cattle, making them eat manna. Y'all remember when they called it that cursed bread? Mm-hmm. Switching the priesthood and them thinking it was nepotism, not bringing them into a land flowing with milk and honey, and killing the people of the Lord. They said that about him. And that sounds like a scapegoat to me. Mm-hmm. This is all roads lead back to Moses. This is, I mean, he had to be the greatest one to single-handedly demise the Israelites. If you let them tell the story. When they know. My whole point being, we must constantly learn to count our blessings. Learn to stay focused on the goal. Learn to make the best of our circumstance. And always remember that God is watching. Stay focused on the goal. You don't got no water? All right, I don't got no water. How are we going to go get some water? We don't got unity? All right, we don't got unity. How are we going to have unity? Surround yourself with people who are interested in having true unity. If your friend is somebody, what was that show? I forgot. It's one of them housewives shows. I'll be watching this stuff in and out. If your friend is somebody who cannot apologize to you, that is not your friend. The person can't come forth and be like, I'm sorry. I don't want you to feel like that. That's your friend. I don't understand what's the basis of your friendship. That's not true unity. Don't let fake and phony people be the reason why you're miserable. I love them, but I hate when he does this. I love her, but when she acts like that, I just don't want to be around her. That's what complaining people do. Complaining people make you not want to be around. Because you always constantly got something negative to say about a situation instead of handling it, and then you're looking at me funny because I don't want to hear it. I don't have to listen to it. I don't have to subject myself to your misery. You can be by yourself, and when you get over yourself, come back and see me. This is how we do it. And it's not like when you're talking through a problem, that's one thing. When you're trying to make me your problem, that's another. And this is Moses. Now, I know I've gone at exhaust at this point. Why am I doing this? Because I want us to see how Moses was feeling. Because we're going to look at what Moses did, and we're going to look at Moses and we're going to be like, Moses should have known better. And I'm going to say this. And I'm going to keep this 200%. Everybody has their breaking point when enough is enough.
Right.
Everybody has their breaking point where they want to yell. They want to say, shut up. They want to say, get away from me. They want to say, get out. Or they want to say, I'm gone. And a lot of times, the person who we expect to do better, we sitting there looking after you done pushed them all the way to the edge. We're sitting there looking at them like, why you do that? Why you doing like that? Why all of a sudden you acting like that? Not you. You're not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to be perfect all the time in all seasons, and I'm not supposed to be a human being. But I want you to think more so about what you do to people as opposed to you thinking about how they should act. Because Moses is a man and he can make mistakes like everybody else can make a mistake. And he can ask for forgiveness like everybody else can ask for forgiveness. And when you know that you got people who are held to a higher standard and they're responsible for more than what you're responsible for, Stop stressing them out. It's not right. You know what they do. You know they got a lot on their plate. Leave them alone and let them do what they got to do. Find the right times and find the right modes. Don't kill the people up. Don't kill the good people. The people that ain't doing good, those are the people you need to shuttle off. A lot of times as a people, we start stressing people out that they don't feel like doing anything anymore, and then we get upset why they don't want to do anything anymore. And then when they're gone, what do we do? We mourn. We stop and we like, you know how good they was? Yeah, he would have listened to me. This person don't even listen to me. And then we start to see a clearer understanding of who Moses was and who Joshua was. And how after Joshua was looking at everything that Moses went through and how they caused him to lose his blessing, that Joshua was like, not gonna be me. You can forget it. Y'all can find somebody else to do that too. Because the man who was mentoring me, the man who was showing me what to do, he was way too nice for this. And would it be a nice get him? Not allowing him to see the land. It reads.
Verse 6. And Moshe and Aharon went from the presence of the assembly unto the door of the tent of meeting, and fell upon their faces. And the glory of Yahweh appeared unto them. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying, take the rod and assemble the congregation, thou and Aharon thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes, that it give forth its water. And I shall bring forth to them water out of the rock, so thou shalt give the congregation and their cattle drink. And Moshe took the rod from before Yahweh, as he commanded him. And Moshe and Aharon gathered the assembly together before the rock, and he said unto them, hear now, ye rebels, are we to bring you forth water out of this rock?
I want y'all to understand this. Clearly he was upset. Clearly. And he had the right to be upset. You know why he had the right to be upset? Every time he walked away and he prayed for the people. Every time he was falling on his face and he was turning back to God and saying, God, please forgive them. God, please save them. And things of that nature. And if we see last week's portion, we seen this building up. Because that was the first time we seen where Moses was like, don't accept their offering. We see it was the first time where Moses was setting them up. And he was like, yeah, bring your incense forward and burn them. Understanding that his two nephews died under the same circumstances. We seen that Moses was beginning to become fed up. And now he's sitting there, he's like, here you now, ye rebels. I want y'all to understand this. We're going to see what happens, but the first thing they always tell you to do before you act, you should do what?
Think.
Think. Don't be quick to fire off the handle. Y'all know how we do. They obviously don't know how I get down. Because I can show you the other side of it. And when things get real, things will get real. This whole room will be feeling different about how I'm doing things if they try and test me. That's not a good way to go about doing things. That's not a good way. Because you make people feel uncomfortable when you step into your zone, that don't make you righteous. And Moses, he did the right thing. He walked off and he went to God. And God being merciful. I want y'all to understand. God being merciful. Moses didn't have a consoler. You know, it was like, you console the people, but who consoles Moses? I was like, okay, they're crying. Take your rod. Go to the rock. The rock's going to give forth this water. So he told them. And I'm sure Moses was like,
That's it.
you get upset. I'm telling you because I go to work and I give people discipline. When I give people discipline, they can fight it and they go to higher authorities and all of that. And then somebody I might be trying to fire, and this might be the 6th time I gave them discipline, and an arbitrator come back and they're like, they're not removed. They deserve to keep their job. They're suspended one more time. I'm sitting there, I'm like, why am I wasting my time if you're going to keep suspending them? For all of that, I didn't need to waste my time and do all of that. But, God being merciful, he obviously determined that these people didn't know better. He understood that. And understanding that, he was like, go give them water. And I had to learn. As a young man, I used to get frustrated. I was like, and I'm telling you, I used to think, I was like, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to find this person. This person's going to go. And my job is going to be a better place to work. That's not how that works. You control what's around you. And you can't kill everybody. You can't get rid of everybody. There's sometimes when you got to stop, you got to give people a chance to change. But because I was younger, it was just like you did wrong and everything was black and white. And as you become older, or you gain some age, because I'm not old, what ends up happening is, I like that one, huh? What ends up happening is you begin to find a gray area. Well, guess what? At 117, 118, 119 years old, when you become older, every elder has told me, your patience becomes this short. Because you're like, I've been talking about this. And I've been saying this over and over. And now I got to give the people water again. Again. And this is all they talk to me about. At what point, from when we was introduced in Exodus chapter 1 to Numbers chapter 20, at what point do we remember reading the people coming to Moses saying, good job, Moses. Right. We appreciate you, Moses. Right. We need more people like you, Moses. Right. Not one time. Right. Not one. And when you're constantly giving to somebody and you don't even get a word of appreciation, I guarantee you, a lot of us would have done much worse than this. I'm telling you, there's times when my mother felt I was being unappreciative and she told me, go sit down. In the way she told me to go sit down. Adults understand what I'm saying. Nobody wants to be unappreciated. And you sit there, you're like, this is all about water. Like I got the water in the back and I'm just keeping it from y'all. I don't got water either. I'm not drinking like how y'all not drinking. And if y'all would have listened to me the first time, we would have been in the land drinking water at our well. Already. Pomegranates, figs, milk and honey, whatever you wanted. The opportunity was there, and now I'm the reason. So he went out there. He said, hey, now you rebels. And that's what they were. They were rebels. That's exactly who they were. And he was upset. And he got a rod in his hand. And guess what? When people get upset, they start pacing around. Yeah. That's what they do. Yeah. When people get upset, sometimes they start breaking stuff. Yeah. I'm not advocating that. I'm just telling you that we can see that in these days and times when people sit down, they start banging stuff. They hit a wall. They slam a door. They flip a chair. That happens. And Moses had a good reason to be upset. He's like, y'all talking to me about water again? Especially when you know the fact that when he was with his father-in-law Jethro, he was good. He was at peace. But he understood what God expected him to do. And it reads.
Verse 11. And Moshe lifted up his hand and smote the rock with his rod twice. And water came forth abundantly, and the congregation drank and their cattle. And Yahweh said unto Moshe and Aaron, because ye believe not in me, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this assembly into the land which I have given them.
Now I want y'all to understand this. I want y'all to understand this. We all know that Moses believed in God. But it was a moment of indiscretion that allowed him to blow. And I want y'all to say this. I want y'all to understand this when I say this. Don't allow wicked people to ruin your blessing. People get upset. They want to fight. Things of that nature. You go there, like, you think I won't shoot you in your face? I'll shoot you in your face. Act like I won't do it. And they may act like you won't do it. They may act like that. So then you do it. Everybody's like, yeah, he did it. But your time in jail will not be worth that moment that you prove that you'll shoot somebody in the face.
25 with an L.
You think I won't punch you in your face? I'll punch you right in your face. I guarantee you that your nose won't be the same after I hit you in your face. Might be right till you go to court and they sue you. They say he said he was going to do it and he did it. It was intent. And this is how much you have to pay now. Don't let it happen like that because it doesn't have to happen like that. It's very much okay to walk away sometimes. And that doesn't make you soft. Protecting yourself, that's another thing. But to walk away, I think there's few men in this room, if I know any, that would be like, I don't know how to protect myself. And there's few think that they won't win every time. Nobody thinks they're going to lose a fight. But the fact of the matter is that you got somebody who's taking you there who's ruining your blessing. Because somebody has a perception of you, that does not make you less of a man or a woman. Somebody wants to fight, you know what? You got it. You're right. I know. I'm soft. I'm afraid of you. Just walk away. Now if they come after you, defend yourselves. Then you're totally in the right. Then if you could break their nose where it won't be the same, you totally in the right. You tried to walk away from them. Point being, give God the glory. Because in all of this, when I look at this whole situation, you know what it's like to put in 40 years of work to see it blown in a moment because of rebels. Not because it was something that you did where you could stop and sit and be like, well, I guess I know, I thought about it, I did it, and this, that. But because of rebels. You ever get in trouble, like at work or in school, and you can point to the person that convinced you to do it, and you're like, I should not have listened to that person? Right. That's the worst feeling in the world. Because you're like, I knew not to listen to him. Yeah. He's always getting in trouble. That's why I said, be like, let me tell you something. When I tell you watch out for a whisperer, watch out for somebody who's always leaning in close to you, that every time you see them, you got to do like this. Every time. Like, what are you whispering in my ear for? Say what you need to say. I get upset with that when I'm at work. I'm like, one, did you need to get that close to me? And two, what you said to me, was it really, I ain't want to say it too loud. Why not? I'm not upfront type of dude. I mean, I get it. But I'm like, you got to watch out for people like that. Because when they don't want other people to know, you need to question why they don't want other people to know. Him, Moses, he blew it. We hate to see it. Moses was a great man, the greatest in my opinion of them all. Because the Most High chose him to bring the people to out. But here in the instance, if you see what the people did, they whined, they complained, they moaned, they got their water. Now Moses is dying, and some of them are headed to the land. That's crazy. But at the same point too, I can't understand it. I can only learn from the experience, but God found it just. And it reads,
these are the waters of Meribah, where the children of Israel strove with Jehovah, and he was sanctified in them.
Go ahead.
And Moshe sent messages from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Thus saith thy brother Israel, thou knowest all the travail that hath befallen us, how our fathers went down into Egypt, and we dwelt in Egypt a long time. And the Egyptians dealt ill with us and our fathers. And when we cried unto Jehovah, he heard our voice, and sent an angel and brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of thy border. Let us pass, I pray thee, through thy land. We will not pass through field or through vineyard, neither will we drink of the water of the wells. We will go along the king's highway. We will not turn aside to the right hand nor to the left until we have passed our border.
So simple enough. Listen, I'm not going to touch anything. We don't want anything from you. It's just a straight away. It's just a straight away that we want to go. You can watch us. You can monitor the whole route, and we will be gone. However, it is a lot to ask of somebody when you know they're going to take over somebody else's land and they got their army with them to pass through a country. It's a lot to ask. But the Edomites, we weren't new to the Edomites. Everybody knew where we was going to go. But you still have to get permission. You sit there, nobody just let somebody walk all through their house and see what's going on and be like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. But obviously the Edomites, as we're about to see, didn't see us as a brother. And it reads.
And Edom said unto him, Thou shalt not pass through me, lest I come out with the sword against thee. And the children of Israel said unto him,
pleading,
We will go up by the highway, and if we drink of thy water, I and my cattle, then I will give the price thereof. Let me only pass through on my feet. There is no hurt. And he said, Thou shalt not pass through. And Edom came out against him with much people, and with a strong hand. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his border, wherefore Israel turned away from him.
Okay, listen, I'm trying to tell y'all something, and I'm serious. Y'all are not walking through here. Your money's not good here. I'm not giving you water. Allow it to be. Find another way. And that was fine. God didn't give us the land of Edom, so that wasn't a problem. They said no, now we got to go around. It reads.
And they journeyed from Kadesh, and the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, came unto Mount Hor. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe and Aharon in Mount Hor by the border of the land of Edom, saying, Aharon shall be gathered unto his people, for he shall not enter into the land which I have given unto the children of Israel, because ye rebelled against my word at the waters of Meribah.
So we see from the same instance, even though Moses struck the rock, that Aaron was being held accountable also. And it reads,
Take Aharon and Eleazar his son, and bring them up unto Mount Hor, and strip Aharon of his garments, and put them upon Eleazar his son.
Right.
And Aharon shall be gathered unto his people, and shall die there.
See?
And Moshe did as Yahweh commanded, and they went up into Mount Hor in the sight of all the congregation. And Moshe stripped Aharon of his garments, and put them upon Eleazar his son. And Aharon died there in the top of the mount. And Moshe and Eleazar came down from the mount.
Right.
And when all the congregation saw that Aharon was dead, they wept for Aharon 30 days, even all the house of Israel.
Now I want y'all to understand this. And this is what happened. When you stop and you look at this, they were the reason why he died. And now they're mourning for him for 30 days. It just doesn't make any sense. And look, reading the story, knowing the history, it becomes frustrating. You're like, you're gonna sit there and you're gonna come out against me, you're gonna threaten me, you want to stone me with stones and all that other stuff, and then when I die, you're gonna mourn for me. That's why unity can't be attained, because we're going about things all the wrong way.
Right.
And it reads,
chapter 21. And the Canaanite, the king of Arad, who dwelt in the south, heard tell that Israel came by the way of Atarim. And he fought against Israel and took some of them captive.
Now, this is where it starts getting crazy. The Canaanites, they was out there. We didn't even make it to the land. But now, they're not letting us walk around the wilderness anymore. They're coming to attack us. And that's just not right. You're like, hey, what's going on? But the fact of the matter is that they know what we're about and what we're coming to do. And they know they're on deck sooner or later. So they thought, hey, maybe we'll just try to beat them to the punch because these other people were successful in destroying them. So let us try and smite them even more and see what's going to happen. And as we see from the rest of this chapter and the chapters to come, there were more and more people that were deciding to come and attack us in the wilderness as opposed to them sitting back and waiting for us to make the move on their land. And it reads,
And Israel vowed a vow unto Yahweh and said, If thou wilt indeed deliver this people into my hand, then I will utterly destroy their cities.
They vowed a vow. I want y'all to see this. Look at it. Accept it. put it in your notes, a proven method to be successful. If you vow to the Most High and you keep your vow, He'll answer your prayers. But you got to decide to vow. And you have to make a commitment to keep that vow. It reads,
And Jehovah hearkened to the voice of Israel and delivered up the Canaanites, and they utterly destroyed them in their cities. And the name of the place was called Hormah.
what does Hormah mean? Should say it in your books. Destruction. That's exactly what it is. Hormah. So see.
And they journeyed from Mount Hor by the way to the Red Sea, to the Sea of Reeds, to compass the land of Edom.
Right.
And the souls of the people became impatient because of the way.
Right. You got to walk around a whole country of people because they didn't want to let us through. So what do the people do? Yet again.
And the people spoke against God and against Moshe. Wherefore have you brought us out of Egypt to die in the wilderness?
They crazy.
There was no bread, and there was no water, and our soul loatheth this light bread. And Jehovah sent fiery serpents among the people. And they bit the people, and much people of Israel died.
Yeah, because you know what? You know what's crazy? You gave Moses his death sentence. He's still leading you in spite of that fact. Because most people be like, yo, you know, I'm dead anyway. Might as well make my move. Y'all figure it out. Y'all want to go to Egypt? Go. Let me see you cross that Sea of Reeds again. You sit here, you got Aaron that just died. Y'all mourn for him 30 days. You know why we got to go around Edom's country, and you still complaining to me about it. And God, being the greatest manager of them all, made the offenders the example. The first time he felt that they didn't know better and he gave them water. This time that's not going to happen. This time you know why you're doing what you do. You still decided to do it. Now I'm going to send some serpents out. You think you really want to die? I'm not going to let you die. I'm going to let you suffer from these serpents and see how you deal with that. It reads,
And the people came to Moshe and said, We have sinned, because we have spoken against Jehovah
every time
and against thee. Pray unto Jehovah that he take away the serpents from us. And Moshe prayed for the people.
Moses was the man for the job. I'm trying to tell you something. He got a death sentence. People wanted to kill him. There was all types of stuff going on here. And they're like, you know what? You're right. The same thing. I like you. I hate you. I like you. I hate you. I like you. I hate you. Can you give me water? I like you. I'm still walking around this wilderness. I hate you. Can you heal me? I like you. Wait a second. I'm still walking around this wilderness. I hate you. Bipolar.
Oh, yes.
Exactly.
The very definition. Like, what's wrong with you, man? If I ain't doing something for you, I ain't good. That's who we are. Is that who we are as a people? That's exactly who we are. I ain't do something for you, I hate you. You did something for me, you're the best person in the world. Ingrates. It reads.
Verse 8. And Jehovah said unto Moshe, Make thee a fiery serpent, and set it upon a pole. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is bitten when he seeth it shall live.
Right.
And Moshe made a serpent of brass and set it upon the pole. And it came to pass that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he looked unto the serpent of brass, he lived.
I want to ask y'all this. Did one of our forefathers do something like this? Concerning animals?
Yeah.
Who?
Jacob.
Jacob. That's right. With the poplar. Have them look at it. Clearly there's something to this method. Knowledge that we may not have. And I don't know anybody that has. But this wasn't definitely. This had nothing to do with taking this medicine or doing something like staring at it. Staring at the very thing that made you sick. And it bringing life back to you. That's why I tell y'all that there's much to be said about positive energy. Much to be said. And when they talk about placebos and things of that nature, that we don't understand exactly how it works, and when they do those control groups, that when you sit down and you look and you believe that you can beat it, that you will beat it. It wasn't like, oh, everybody had, all you had to do was go and you had to stare at it. And once you believed that you'd be healed, you were healed. But what was the simple thing you had to do? Go and stare at it. Believe that. And a lot of times, this is the thing, you're like, wait a second. You know, us in these days and times, we want a needle. Where's the injection? Where's the something? You know, sometimes when a snake bites you, you need some of the venom to fight what they had in you.
Antidote.
Not the case here. It reads.
And the children of Israel journeyed and pitched in Oboth. And they journeyed from Oboth and pitched at Avarim, in the wilderness which is in front of Moab toward the sun rising.
Right.
From thence they journeyed and pitched in the valley of Zered. From thence they journeyed and pitched on the other side of the Arnon, which is in the wilderness that cometh out of the border of the Amorites.
Right.
For Arnon is the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites.
All right.
Wherefore it is said
Hold on. All right, I want y'all to understand about these Amorites and the Moabites and how they came into the picture. Because, they know where we're headed, but these guys later on, and we even see this in the Matthias portion and what was happening in that history of the judges, where you had these people, they was like, you know, how'd you end up getting this land? And what makes you have the right to this? And things of that nature. And you like, if you know your history, you would know how we ended up in these lands and how the Most High gave them to us and things of that nature. And originally, we didn't even want the land. But you know how that goes. To the victor belongs the spoils. It's just how it goes. If you left me alone, we would have been fine. But here you see the Amorites and the Moabites stepped into the picture. And it reads.
Wherefore it is said in the book of the wars of Yahweh, I have in Suphah in the valleys of Arnon, and the slope of the valleys that incline toward the seat of Ar, and leaneth upon the border of Moab. And from thence to Be'er, that is the wells whereof Yahweh said unto Moshe,
gather the people together,
and I will give them water.
So they're circling, and they're coming back full circle. Go ahead.
Then sang Yisrael the song, spring up, O well, sing ye unto it. The well which the princes dig, which the nobles of the peoples delve, with the scepter and with their staves. And from the wilderness to Matana, and from Matana to Nahaliel, and from Nahaliel to Bamoth, and from Bamoth to the valley that is in the field of Moab, by the top of Pisgah, which looketh down upon the desert.
And we know what this Pisgah is as we get into the next book. That's that mount where what? Say it again. Voila. All right. Let's go.
And Israel sent messages unto Sihon, king of the Amorites, saying, let me pass through thy land. We will not turn aside into field or into vineyard. We will not drink of the water of the wells. We will go by the king's highway until we have passed our border.
So we're always asking. We just want to go by. And it goes on.
And Sihon would not suffer Israel to pass through his border. But Sihon gathered all his people together and went out against Israel.
That's a big but. That's a big but. Because you sit there, you like, the Edomites, they said, no, you can't pass. And we already proved we didn't want war with them. We just went around. But Sihon, he became arrogant with his. I was like, not only are you not passing through, but I'm coming out to attack you. And it reads.
And he went out against Israel into the wilderness and came to Yahaz. And he fought against Israel. And Israel smote him with the edge of the sword, and possessed his land from the Arnon unto the Yabok, even unto the children of Ammon. For the border of the children of Ammon was strong.
Yeah. So now, to the victor belongs the spoils. Listen, we tried to do this one way. And that's why I tell y'all that every time when you have a fight, proclaim peace first. We seen what was happening. It's like, hey, listen, I don't want no problems. But you have a right to defend yourself. And once you defend yourself, whatever you get is what's yours. And here, now we're taking over somebody else's land. And we didn't even want this land. This was not what the Most High designated for our heritage. But we had to do what we had to do. It reads.
And Israel took all these cities, and Israel dwelt in all the cities of the Amorites, and Heshbon, and in all the towns thereof. For Heshbon was the city of Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab, and taken all his land out of his hand, even unto the Arnon. Wherefore they that speak in parables say, Come ye to Heshbon, and let the city of Sihon be built and established. For a fire is going out of Heshbon, a flame from the city of Sihon. They have devoured Ar of Moab, the lords of the high places of Arnon.
Woe to thee, Moab,
thou art undone, O people of Chemosh.
the false god.
He hath given his sons as fugitives and his daughters into captivity unto Sihon, king of the Amorites.
Yeah, because they was, and I know there's a little bit more to this, but they were singing about Sihon and how great he did when he defeated the Moabites, and now we defeated him. That's how it is. And they got their false god in there talking about thou art undone, O people of Chemosh. And sit there, he like, Sihon took somebody else's land, now we took it from him. That's just how it goes. It passes on until God determines who he feels he wants to have that land. Right. And it reads,
we have shot at them, Heshbon is perished, even unto Dibon. And we have laid waste even unto Nophi, which reaches unto Medeba. Thus Israel dwelt in the land of the Amorites.
Right.
And Moshe sent to spy out Yazir.
To spy out.
And they took the towns thereof, and drove out the Amorites that were there.
Right.
And they turned and went up by the way of Bashan. And Og, the king of Bashan, went out against them. He and all his people to battle at Edrei.
Now y'all see where the psalmist comes in. Right. Now y'all see who these players were in the game. People that we initially asked to just pass through their country. And people who decided to keep attacking us. Og, the king of Bashan, what did he have to do with the thing? What is he? He came out too. He was like, yo, look, we need to do something now. And we destroyed them also. And it reads,
and Jehovah said unto Moshe,
fear him not,
for I have delivered him into thy hand and all his people and his land. And thou shalt do to him as thou didst unto Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt at Heshbon. So they smote him and his sons and all his people, until there was none left for him remaining, and they possessed his land.
Right, for perpetual. To own the land in perpetuity, excuse me. To have it, and that's what we're going to have, and that will begin to be our base as we begin to move across. And as we're going to see in the weeks to come, and I'm not going to teach next week, say there, but not, I'm not going to teach next week, say there, but you're going to see why people began to become afraid. When we beat Sihon, that was a big thing. That was like, wait a second, he just defeated the Moabites. Now they came behind him and defeated them, and then right after that, Og, the king of Bashan, we defeated them. And then we're going to see why the players that were coming up began to become scared, and why they hired people against us to try and stop us from what we were doing, even though we still going to do some more wicked stuff that would cause us for some more people to die. But finish it out.
Chapter 22. And the children of Israel journeyed and pitched to the plains of Moab beyond the Jordan at Jericho. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. And as we see here, with that Jericho, said we were right on the edge. It was like we were so close, we could smell it. And I said, I want us to understand this. And giving honor and praise to God, you can't say you're doing Torah 1 minute and you're speaking against him the next. It doesn't work out like that. He may be merciful unto us, but it's a thing where we can't control our own circumstance, and we can't build something better for our future as long as we make a commitment to do that which is right and decide to have a better future. Therefore, hoping and praying that you got something out of what I said, that the Most High God found these words acceptable to be spoken before his people, as I bid you all in the time of my forefathers, Shabbat Shalom Lakem.
Shabbat Shalom Lakem.
And with that, I'd like to call up a young lady who got about 15 degrees. Actually, she got like 3. But I know she prepared for this portion, and I know that she wanted to speak it. She's coming in place of our daughter Imani, who is actually out of town, and I ask that the Most High bless her on her journey. And that one thing I want to say about Imani, she's doing very well. She's doing great in school, and I'm sure she's a reflection of her mother and what her mother has taught her. So I ask that you all give my Isha a round of applause as she teaches Judges, even 11th chapter, verse 9. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
She could take it out the stand if you want to. You want to take it out.
The stand was okay. It was okay. The stand was okay. It was okay. Everybody, the stand was okay.
Your time. Let me get the time.
First and foremost, can you hear me?
Can.
All right, wonderful. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, all honor, and all my love to the God of Abraham, Jacob, and Isaac. I also would like to give honor to the leader, the father, the chief of this house, Principal Frank Guru, and the co-founder, Prince Yardell Ben Saska.
Amen.
And to all of you, I bid you in the tongue of our forefathers, Shabbat Shalom again.
Shabbat Shalom.
Of course you may be seated. As we get started, just to make sure that we're still active and we're still engaged, and I'm a teacher by trade, or a teacher by, I guess, career, so I overplan, and I don't necessarily believe in like passive learning, so I do like when we interact. Having said that, what again is the name of the seventh day? No, that's not what we said. What again was the name of the seventh day? If you were listening. Yom Hashvi'i, King. Wonderful, wonderful. As many of you know, or you may have heard, we tend to remember or retain 10% of what we see, 30 to 40% of what we see and what we hear, but 90% of what we see, hear, and do. So I'll have questions for you, and hopefully you'll have responses for me. Who remembers a couple of weeks ago when Tifu Zael, I believe, he gave us the meaning or the reason why we read the Haftorah? Does anybody remember why we even read the Haftorah, period? Or is it just something that we do? A little louder.
A Haftorah.
Okay. Do we need the mic? Because that was the correct answer. Tifu Zael was giving us a mic.
Yes.
Well, the young brother, Nathaniel, had the correct answer.
The reason why we read the Haftorah is because during the time when we didn't have the Torah, we were supposed we read about the prophets in order to make connections between the two to get a better understanding.
That's right. So there was a time when, wonderful, that was correct. There was a time when we were unable to read the Torah. Actually, Antiochus Epiphanes, I believe that is his name, forbade our ancestors from reading. And we'll see throughout history, and we even see sometimes today, where it's as though people want to stop us from serving the Most High. So we were able to read different portions of the text, namely the prophets, so that we can make those connections. I believe we read them today because we can see how throughout history the laws and statutes and commandments can be seen, whether you're in Numbers like we were today or in Judges. So we'll see the connections, and hopefully we'll make those connections today.
Amen.
The background of Judges, when I was looking to see, well, where did Yitzhak? We know it's Jephthah in this book, but we say Yitzhak because there was no what letter? There was no J. Okay, wonderful. That's easy. So I was looking to see, well, who is this person? Why did he appear? What happened? What were we doing? And prior to Yitzhak's, I guess, appearance, we again had fallen out of the grace of the Most High. We were worshiping other gods, 7 actually other gods that we had no business worshiping.
Right.
There were particular nations, as I looked at it, that we had actually conquered in battle, and instead of worshiping the Most High, we started worshiping their gods instead of the gods of the Most High. Right. So the Most High was angry with us, and of course, what do? We say, Most High, I apologize. We acknowledge our sin before the Most High, and this is the first time actually in Judges 10, I believe, that we actually said, okay, we profess our sins, but the Most High said, you know what? I hear you, but at the same time, I'm gonna give you tough love. I'm not going to go ahead and I'm not going to redeem you. Let's look at Judges 10:6. Actually, can we look at
Judges 10:6.
10:6. Take it back and then go forward. Okay, wonderful. Can you read just a little bit? Thank you.
We're in the book of Judges, chapter 10, starting from verse 6.
Actually, I want you to go down a little further. Look at 10:9. Let's start 9.
Starting from verse 9.
We'll see where the Most High actually sells us into the hands of the Philistines and the Amorites because we just failed to do what we were supposed to do. Let's start 10:9.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And the children of Ammon passed over the Jordan to fight also against Yehudah and against Benjamin and against the house of Ephraim, so that Israel was sore distressed. And the children of Israel cried unto Yahweh, saying, We have sinned against thee, in that we have forsaken our God, and have served the Baalim. And Yahweh said unto the children of Israel, Did not I save you from the Egyptians, and from the Amorites, from the children of Ammon, and from the Philistines, the Zidonians also, and the Amalekites, and the Maonites, did oppress you, and ye cried unto me, and I saved you out of their hand. Yet ye have forsaken me and served other gods, wherefore I will save you no more.
So again, we serving these false gods. We see where we're again falling victim to the same behavior. We saw that today. We continuously see that in the Tanakh.
Right.
And then we see where the Most High said, "At this point, I am not saving you."
Right.
So the children did put our forefathers did put away our false gods, and we basically changed our behavior, and that's what we do. Yitzhak said that we go from we like you, we're going to do right, to we're going to do wrong. We do that today to one another, and we do that today when we want to worship everything, our cars, our red bottom shoes, our Coach bags. There's everything that we want. We look at our possessions instead of one another in the Most High. We do that a lot.
Right.
But the Most High at this point said, listen, I am not saving you. So at that point, instead of turning to the Most High to help us, we looked for a leader. We wanted a man, and in his compassion came Yitzhak, kind of moving ahead, but in his compassion came Yitzhak.
Right.
And that will bring us to the portion where we see this mighty man of valor appear. And we can start in 11:1.
We're in the book of Judges, chapter 11, starting from verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Now Yitzhak, the Gileadite, was a mighty man of valor, and he was the son of a harlot.
We got to stop there. When I look through the text is pretty much straightforward, and it connects very well with today's portion, but we cannot escape that part. This was a son of a harlot. So I looked in Deuteronomy 23:2. If we can jump there, quickly. What is the son of a harlot is known as a bastard. Okay? How does the Most High feel about bastards?
So they shouldn't come into the congregation.
So in
for the 10th generation.
in Deuteronomy 23:2. Thank you.
He that is crushed or maimed in his privy parts shall not enter into the assembly of Yahweh. Verse 3. A bastard shall not enter into the assembly of Yahweh, even to the 10th generation shall none of his enter into the assembly of Yahweh.
Okay, thank you for that. So we see where the Most High is very clear. If you are a bastard, you are not to enter in the house. The Most High does not embrace bastards at all. Mm-hmm. However, like any parent, like any good parent, like any loving, merciful father, the Most High can overlook or dispossess his own law if it's for the good of the people. You know what I mean? So we may tell our child, you know what, you can't go to the movies, or you can't do this thing, just like my own son that Yitzhak was referring to. My son was on punishment for 45 days. 45 days. In that, for various things. But in that time frame, I was merciful because I saw what he was attempting to kind of modify his behavior and do better. So it's like, okay, Ima, can I go to that field trip? Well, you don't really deserve it, but I'll let you go. So we'll see where the Most High has some compassion. And even though the Most High feels strongly about bastards, we will see where Yitzhak was chosen, was chosen to lead.
Right.
Regardless. If we look at Jeremiah 1, 5 and 7, and then I won't check the line. Go to Jeremiah 1. Thank you. All right, so in Jeremiah 1, we'll see where the Most High knows us, knows our past, our present, and our future. The Most High formed us.
Right.
So when we were in our mother's womb, the Most High already knew the plan that He had for us.
Right.
And we will see that in Jeremiah 1 through 5. 1, 5 through 7, sorry, chapter 1, 5 through 7, please.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, verses 5 through 7. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. I have appointed thee a prophet unto the nations. Then said I, Jehovah God, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child. But Jehovah said unto me, say not, I am a child. For to whomsoever I shall send thee, thou shalt go. And whatsoever I shall command thee, thou shalt speak.
So, I looked at that particular portion, and I looked at my life, I looked at myself. Technically, I would have been conceived of an unmarried woman, but my parents did marry before I was literally born. In my family, there's a bunch of drug abuse. There's everything. There's alcoholism. You name it. I think a lot of us, especially if we're sitting here in Brooklyn or we're from a particular island, we have some of those situations around us. But we are here. And if you are here, then you were set aside and you were selected for some reason to do something. I don't know what that is. I've actually moved. I moved from here to Atlanta. A lot of you know that have talked to me. I came back up here thinking that I was coming for a good paying job. I'm not at that job, but you know what did happen with me, what the Most High has chosen me to do? My sister has come and started to ask questions and wanted to study and wanted to know more about the Most High. And you see her here. She recently told me that my Abba wants to come, and that's amazing because he's the reason I'm actually here. I was exposed to this way of life when I was younger, but then he kind of strayed away, but now he wants to come. He sees a change in her. He sees how my family lives, and now she's like, listen, Daddy wants to come. My father that can't sit for 2 minutes wants to come. Hallelujah. And wants to actually sit in here from 10 to 2. I don't know about that, but I'll probably get to 12 to 2. But the Most High is clearly using me as the vehicle for my family. We never know what the Most High is going to do with us, and we have to be open to that. We have to be open. We see where, I know we've seen this on social media, but we see where Abraham lied. We see where Moses stuttered. We see where Jacob was a liar, but still the Most High used them. Last point, then we'll move on. Even our own Prince of Poor, who we beloved, openly talks about the fact that he had a speech impediment. My son has a speech impediment. But the Most High clearly chose him because he eloquently teaches us and leads us and has led us. Hallelujah. So please know that God has a purpose for all of us.
That's right.
And that I think that's shown with Yitzhak being a mighty man of valor who was made or born of a harlot. Okay?
Right.
Middle of verse 1. And Gilad begot Yiftach. Verse 2. And Gilad's wife bore him sons. And when his wife's sons grew up, they drove out Yiftach and said unto him, thou shalt not inherit in our father's house, for thou art the son of another woman. Then Yiftach fled from his brethren and dwelt in the land of Tob. And there were gathered vain fellows to Yiftach, and they went out with him.
I think that verse 2 is self-explanatory. We know that his brothers clearly felt that they were more valuable because they were the offspring of the father and the mother. But these vain men, what does the text mean about vain men? Do we know what that is referring to? What type of men, what the character of these type of people may have been when we say vain men? Were they just looking in the mirror saying, "Oh, I'm so sexy, I'm so attractive"? What does vain men mean? Do we know? Maybe proud, arrogant. They were proud. They were arrogant. They were lazy. They were what? They were bold, and they were also the type of men who were a bit lazy. The men who would rather ride someone's coattail than work. And Yitzhak was able to mobilize them, these vain men, as we'll see, to get them to work on his behalf, to fight against those that he was was set to battle. So you can see where he clearly was a mighty man of valor because he could mobilize the proud, the vain, the laziest of people.
Verse 4. And it came to pass after a while that the children of Ammon made war against Yisrael, and it was so that when the children of Ammon made war against Yisrael, the elders of Gilead went to fetch Yiftach out of the land of Tob. And they said unto Yiftach, Come and be our chief, that we may fight with the children of Ammon. And Yiftach said unto the elders of Gilead, Did not ye hate me, and drive me out of my father's house? And why are you come unto me now when ye are in distress?
Can we say, be careful how you treat someone because you might need them?
Yeah.
Be careful. So I was driven out, but now you need me, and you come and you seek me, and you never know who that person might be that you are mistreating. When we don't, and we hear this all the time, when we don't shalom one another, which everybody here has been very, very kind to me, so I will definitely say that I think that there's a lot of love in this place, but that can happen where we mistreat one another, then we come back and we need them.
Right.
I know currently the school where I am working, there is a leader there, and I don't know who watches, who does not watch, but there's a leader there who does not treat her staff as kind and as fair as we should be treated. Just the last day of school was this past Thursday. We had a teacher in tears because she just couldn't get the support she needed to be a better educator. Well, you never know when that teacher may be, receive a promotion, may work for the superintendent's office, and that same leader, that same principal that may need something one day has to go and speak to her, the person she had crying. So, let's just watch how we treat one another because you never know. Right. You never know when you'll need that person. Right. And if it's the Most High's will, you will meet again one day. Okay. Also want to note that the Amorites had been oppressing our people for roughly 18 years. So at this point in time, we see where in the portion where we just asked to pass through, and we were constantly met with opposition. So for 18 years, we dealt with these Amorites. Okay, after 18 years of something, you know how aggressive and how upset you would be. We can't take 18 seconds of somebody looking at us the wrong way. We just can't.
That's right.
It's wild. So-and-so rolled their eyes at me, or whatever it is. 18 seconds is too long. Imagine 18 years.
Right.
Okay?
That's right.
Verse 8. And the elders of Gilead said unto Yiftach, Therefore are we returned to thee now, that thou mayest go with us, and fight with the children of Ammon, and thou shalt be our head over all the inhabitants of Gilead. And Yiftach said unto the elders of Gilead, If you bring me back home to fight with the children of Ammon, and Jehovah deliver them before me, I will be your head. And the elders of Gilead said unto Yiftach, Jehovah shall be witness between us. Surely according to thy word, so will we do. Then Yiftach went with the elders of Gilead, and the people made him head and chief over them. And Yiftach spoke all his words before Jehovah in Mizpah.
I read this portion and I thought to myself, would I have been that humble? Would I have been that kind? Might I have made them sweat just a little bit? So Yiftach said, listen, I'm going to put this in the hands of the Most High. If it's the Most High's will that I lead you, that I be that head, I'll let the Most High decide that. How humble must you be to think in that way? Most of us would think, oh, you need me? Well, let's see. What you got for me? We want to barter. We want to put each other through some changes before we are ready to just say, all right, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. I forgive you. I know you need me. All right. Okay, I'll put it in the hands of the Most High. That's not what we do. Not really to one another. A lot of times we got to call somebody on the phone. Did you hear what so-and-so asked me to do? Can you believe they have the nerve to call me? That's just kind of how we go about things. And I noticed when I looked at his approach to it, I said, wow. It wasn't, he didn't even put his brothers and sisters through that. He said, you know what, it's the Most High's will, so let it be. And he did so in front of the congregation before the Lord, means he came before the people of the Most High.
Right.
And said, listen, I confess this. If it is so, let it be.
That's right.
Verse 12. And Yiftach sent messengers unto the king of the children of Ammon, saying, What hast thou to do with me, that thou art come unto me to fight against my land? And the king of the children of Ammon answered unto the messengers of Yiftach, Because Yisrael took away my land, when he came up out of Egypt, from the Arnon even unto the Yabok, and unto the Yarden. Now therefore restore those cities peaceably.
Let's stop right there. So my question to all of those who were attentively listening, how did the Amorites actually lose that land? How'd they lose that land?
They came out.
I heard it from way down there.
Yeah.
The Most High took the land.
Right.
But of course, you know, it's not seen that way. It's, oh, you took my land, you know, and this would be a moment, but I don't have a whole bunch of time, but this would be my moment because I love history and I love to look at how the United States and different areas of Europe love to come in and say, oh, this is my land. No, you took this land from the original inhabitants that are on it. It's amazing to me that I have to get a passport to travel the land that the Most High created because you have designated that you now own it. And I have to get a passport to go from one land to the next. That never sits right with me because I know you did not create anything and you dispossessed the original inhabitants that were there. So, you know, the Amorites at this point have a lot of nerve involved, but we know that was the Most High's doing.
That's right.
Verse 14. And Yiftach sent messengers again unto the king of the children of Ammon. And he said unto him, Thus saith Yiftach, Yisrael took not away the land of Moab, nor the land of the children of Ammon. But when they came up from Egypt, and Yisrael walked through the wilderness unto the Reed Sea, and came to Kadesh, then Yisrael sent messengers unto the king of Edom, saying, Let me, I pray thee, pass through thy land. But the king of Edom hearkened not. And in like manner he sent unto the king of Moab, but he would not. And Yisrael abode in Kadesh. Then he walked through the wilderness and compassed the land of Edom and the land of Moab, and came by the east side of the land of Moab. And they pitched on the other side of the Arnon, but they came not within the border of Moab, for the Arnon was the border of Moab. And Yisrael sent messengers unto Sihon, the king of the Amorites, the king of Heshbon. And Yisrael said unto him, Let us pass, we pray thee, through thy land unto my place. But Sihon trusted not Yisrael to pass through his border. But Sihon gathered all his people together and pitched in Yachaz and fought against Yisrael. And Jehovah, the God of Yisrael, delivered Sihon and all his people into the hand of Yisrael, and they smote them. So Yisrael possessed all the land of the Amorites, the inhabitants of that country. And they possessed all the borders of the Amorites, from the Arnon even unto the Yabok, and from the wilderness even unto the Yarden. So now Jehovah, the God of Yisrael, have dispossessed the Amorites from before his people, Yisrael, and shouldest thou possess them? Will not thou possess that which Chemosh thy God giveth thee to possess? So whomsoever Jehovah our God has dispossessed from before us, them will we possess.
Stop for just one moment. So we can clearly see, just like we can see in the portion where the Most High was with us, was with our forefathers. No matter who stood before us, the Most High enabled us to be victorious. And we smote every nation that came before us. Imagine if we were in the position now where we were unified, where we can be triumphant against any of these nations out here that seek to divide us. With the Most High on our side, we can see where we would be victorious. But I looked at 24 and did a little, research on it. And the Amorites and Moabites had actually obtained their land by defeating its own inhabitants, which is what they do, and whom they cast out. So again, they smote these people, cast them off their land. They gave the credit of that victory to their god Chemosh, when actually, we can see this in Deuteronomy 2, 9, and 19, but we can, I guess you can study that on your own time. You don't have to read it now. Actually, it was the Most High acting on behalf of Lot, to save Lot, that they inhabited this land. So it was actually the Most High, our God, that enabled them to be victorious, but they gave the credit all to Chemosh, their God, instead of the Most High.
Verse 25. And now, art thou anything better than Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab? Did he ever strive against Yisrael, or did he ever fight against them? While Yisrael dwelt in Heshbon and its towns, and in Aroer and its towns, and in all the cities that are along by the sides of the Arnon, 300 years. Wherefore did ye not recover them within that time?
Wasn't that enough time? 300 years? So you had 300 years to take back this land that you say is yours, and you did not bother to do it? Clearly, something is amiss.
Right.
I therefore have not sinned against thee, but thou doest me wrong to war against me. Yahweh, the judge, be judged this day between the children of Israel and the children of Ammon. Howbeit, the king of the children of Ammon hearkened not unto the words of Yiftach which he sent him. Then the spirit of Yahweh came upon Yiftach, and he passed over Gilad and Menashe, and passed over Mitzpeh of Gilad, and from Mitzpeh of Gilad he passed over unto the children of Ammon. And Yiftach vowed a vow unto Yahweh, and said, If thou wilt indeed deliver the children of Ammon into my hand, then it shall be that whatsoever cometh forth from the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, it shall be Yahweh's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering.
Stop right there. So we saw with the portion that when you vow a vow,
Right.
you have to keep that vow.
That's right.
And we've learned from early on that life and death lie in the power of the tongue. Now, the Most High didn't ask for that particular vow. He didn't ask for anything. The Most High was already on Yiftach's side, but, I guess as a show of, I don't know what he was, appreciation, good faith, and, maybe to show how committed he was. He said, listen, right, it was zeal. Let me go ahead and make this vow. But oftentimes we speak before we think. And we have to think about what we say. Because if we do not, we don't know the position that we're putting ourselves in.
Right.
And of course, this portion is going to end before we find out what happens, but hopefully we read on, and we'll talk about after reading, I'll let you finish. We'll talk about what happens with that particular vow. Continue.
Verse 32. So Yiftach passed over unto the children of Ammon to fight against them, and Yahweh delivered them into his hand. And he smote them from Aroer until thou comest to Minnith, even 20 cities, and unto Abel Keramim, with a very great slaughter. So the children of Ammon were subdued before the children of Israel. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Can we go to 34? We can.
Go
just
ahead.
asking. Just 34.
Go ahead.
Can we? Is it okay? All right. We'll read 34 on the side. Please. Thank you. Okay.
And Yiftach came to Mitzpah unto his house, and behold, his daughters came out to meet him with timbrels and with dances. And she was his only child. Beside her he had neither son nor daughter.
All right, so we see that with the vow that Yiftach made, when he spoke before he had clear understanding, before he thought, he vowed his daughter. I don't know if he was assuming that cattle was going to come out. I don't know if he was what he was assuming, but he ended up having to put his daughter in a position where he had to sacrifice her. And we know that we study, so as I would do to my students, I would leave them with a cliffhanger, and if you want to know what happens, just definitely read on, and you will see that he does honor that vow, and you'll see that the daughter herself, she wants to honor her father, and she wants to honor the Most High, so she wants to do that which is right, and they do that. But from all of this, I take several points. One, definitely know that God has a purpose for us. Know that we must be mindful of how we treat one another, and know that when you make a vow, you must keep it. And with God on our side, no one can defeat us. With that, I would like to thank the Most High for this opportunity. I'm grateful that we have a platform for women to speak, for children to speak, for men to speak, for young and old. I thank the leaders here for allowing that to take place, because quite often I've heard, oh, women can't speak. Really? You're an Israelite? They don't let women talk? you just have to just be quiet. Oh, over there, Shema, all of these different rumors that I have yet to see come to pass. So with that, I thank the Most High for my family, for the children that have arrived here safely, and for my daughter who is now traveling. And I bid all of you all in the tongue of my forefather, Shabbat Shalom.
Blessed be Yehovah, our King. Thanking the Most High God for the life of our teacher. Just be seated for 1 minute. The first teacher, my brother Mordeh Yeftat Ben Dan, for the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that the Most High has blessed him with, and for bringing forth the lesson in a manner where it could be understood by all of us, and also by our sister Hizisha, our sister Timberly, doing a great job with the lesson and bringing it forth across to where all of us will be able to understand. And the thing about Yeftat is, I'm talking about the one in Judges, not our brother Mordeh Yeftat, is that I believe Leviticus 5 speaks about when you make a vow and you break a vow, and the offerings that you could bring up before the Most High. Obviously, he didn't have a clear understanding of the law of God, right, because Most High don't receive human burnt offerings, right, and he was trying to do something honorable, but not something that God allowed. The lesson is shown just to show how far we came down as a people. Right. Although he was trying to do, he thought he was doing something right. He even understood certain parts of the law, but obviously he didn't understand all parts of the law. That I'm not going to sacrifice my daughter, because even when it comes to the redemption of a child, or unclean animal, it tells you if you can't give up the shekels, you break his neck of an unclean animal. And a child, you got to give up a certain amount of money to take it back. So God don't receive burnt offerings from a human burnt offering. You understand what I'm saying? So it just shows, and like the sister put it forth, where she did an excellent job in putting it forth. It just shows how far down we fell as a people. How far down we fell as a people. And hey, you sisters are doing great. You sisters are really coming across clear. Y'all are really grasping this whole thing. And I mean, she has an advantage because she's a school teacher, but it's still something different. It's not something that you're really teaching in the curriculum. It's something that you're doing different. And preparation is definitely the key. And preparation shows when you bring it forth. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We thank the Most High for God for this day. And we hope and pray the afternoon we're going to have the questions. I know Mordeh Yeftat didn't get to go through all of them. And it's kind of difficult when someone else is preparing questions for you, how to integrate it with your lesson. So he did ask certain questions, but we do have a lot more questions that we're going to ask. And we want everyone to stay on point. We want brothers as well as sisters to be on point, be ready, because we are a congregation that always prided ourselves on turning out teachers. From when we were young, that's what we always heard, that we make teachers. And we don't want to change that routine. We want to make teachers out of all of us. The New Testament says a woman learned in silence, not Israel. That's right. You know what I mean? We don't. If you know it, you can speak it, and that's a blessing in itself, because y'all are the first ones that teach the children.
A wise woman builds her house.
That's right. A wise woman builds her house. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Let us conclude this portion of the day.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Giving all thanks and praise unto thee, great God, creator of heaven and earth, the God of our forefathers, the God of Abraham, God of Yitzchak, and God of Yaakov. Torah Jehovah, great God Almighty, for the Shabbat day, the holy Shabbat day. Torah Jehovah, for the lesson that was brought forth in this half of the day, great God Almighty, creator of earth. It was brought with understanding and eloquence, great God Almighty. We ask you, Jehovah, to be have compassion upon us, great God Almighty, in this return to your nation, great God, in the earth. We ask you, Jehovah, to consider us, great God Almighty, and see us that we get changed, great God, in the earth. We ask you, Jehovah God, to help us in this congregation, great God Almighty, that we will keep exposed, great God Almighty. I'm patient with this great God Almighty, and give him strength to keep my people, great God Almighty. I ask you, Jehovah, great God Almighty, and continue to bless us with food, clothing, and shelter. Please continue to bless us with a sound mind. Great God Almighty, I thank you for my life, great God Almighty. I thank you for the life of everyone that's here and who will make it today to this holy and great Shabbat. Jehovah, be with your people as I was there, great God Almighty, created that earth. I want people, great God Almighty, this earth, because they don't know the left from the right, great God Almighty. I'm praying for compassion for them, great God Almighty. We fell so low in this story, great God Almighty. Oh, Jehovah, for the goodness of your mercy. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Amen.
This time I say the words the Most High God gave unto Moshe to give unto our Haron and his sons to bless the children of Israel, hoping and praying that on the conclusion of this portion of the day, that the Most High will look down upon all of us that are standing here at this time, even those of us that are online, that the Most High would even grant us a blessing. Wadaber Yahoah El Moshe Lemor, Daber El Haron we El Ben Alemor, Kote Barku et Bene Yisrael Amor Lahem. And Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe, saying, speak unto our Haron and unto his sons, saying, on this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel. Ye shall say unto them, Yivareka Yehovah Yishmereka, Ya'ir Yehovah Panawaleka Wikuneka, Yisai Yehovah Panawaleka Yasem Laka Shalom. May Yehovah bless thee and keep thee. May Yehovah make his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. May Yehovah lift up his countenance upon thee, and may he grant thee peace. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. We will start back at 6:30 p.m. The Teyavon.
Give me 1 second.